Chapter 23:41. There were very few half-celestial realms, and they were very difficult to find. If it was easy, everyone would have a half-celestial realm. After finding a half-celestial realm, one would have to draw the celestial chi from the half-celestial realm into the three realms, which would cause great damage to the half-celestial realm. As such, no faction would allow Qin to do this. He could only put this matter aside for now. Zhao Fu searched for information about the world below. Zhao Fu was quite curious about this world because he had never heard of it before. He felt that it was quite terrifying. There was even less information about the world below than the celestial realm. The heaven-awakened world had become the ultimate ruins, the place where everything ended. Not only did everything in the world end there, but even the world itself also ended there. That place contained the true grand Tao of reincarnation and was filled with boundless deathly stillness. There was no time, no end, and there was nothing there. Some experts simply explored it and then retreated, not daring to go deeper. Some people who dared to go deeper never came back. It was said that even celestials did not dare to go there, as that was where celestials ended up. The ultimate ruins were just that terrifying, and very few people went there. As such, there was very little information about it. Going to the ultimate ruins was much easier than going to the celestial realm. One only needed to break open the world's magic formation. Of course, this magic formation had to be of an extremely high grade, and ordinary magic formations would not be able to do it. However, this was not too difficult for Zhao Fu, and it only took him a short while to find this magic formation. Now that Zhao Fu had found the magic formation, there might be unknown dangers inside. Even the most powerful celestials could die inside, so Zhao Fu hesitated. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu decided to go. After all, the three realms had just been formed and needed the power of the ultimate ruins, and the sooner, the better. Zhao Fu told himself not to be too curious and not to explore. He just had to set up the teleportation magic formation there. After making some simple preparations, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden went to the reincarnation space in the deepest part of the Earth realm, which could also become a reincarnation place. The 9 paths of reincarnation crystal disk was now bigger than before. It had already gone through more than 100 reincarnations. As the number of reincarnations increased, the reincarnations would become bigger and the reincarnation power it possessed would also become stronger. The bottomless ruins could only be opened in the depths of the worlds. Other places, such as the godly world, heaven-awakened world, or even the surface of the underworld, could not be opened. Zhao Fu carved out a 1,000-meter wide magic formation in an empty area in the land of reincarnation. There were many crystals around it, and the magic formation was incredibly complicated and profound. It gave off a massive aura. After the formation was set up, Zhao Fu was about to walk into it. The Spirit Maiden was a little concerned as she said, "Zhao Fu, you have to be careful. That place is really scary. It's the end of all death." Zhao Fu turned to look at her and said with a smile, "I know, so I will come back after I set up the array. You don't have to worry." The Spirit Maiden nodded lightly. Following this, Zhao Fu went to the center of the magic formation. The magic formation was activated and gave off boundless light as a massive wave of power spread out. The light at the center of the magic formation was the most intense, but it did not shoot out. Instead, it condensed on the surface of the ground, looking like a circular seal of light. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the seal of light shot into the ground with terrifying power. It seemed to be able to pierce through everything, and a powerful shock wave spread out. In that instant, Zhao Fu's body disappeared as he followed the light downwards. He felt as if he was falling off a cliff, making him feel quite afraid. This continued for an hour before Zhao Fu heard a bang as Zhao Fu's body landed in a region of space. This region was quite dim and the light was very weak. There was nothing around him, there was no sky, no ground, no grass, no trees, no mountains, and no rivers. What was even more shocking was that there were no laws here, nor was there any flow of time. There was not even a trace of sound, and there were no spatial ripples either. It felt as if there was nothing here. Zhao Fu understood why this place looked like a realm, but at the same time, it was not. It was like a boundless abyss. First of all, it did not have spatial attributes, so it did not have the attributes of a realm. It felt as if it was a boundless abyss. Zhao Fu was currently in the void. It was completely dark 100 meters below him, and he could not see anything. Zhao Fu frowned. Everything was different from what he had expected. Zhao Fu had thought that he would teleport here and then create a teleportation formation to go back. He would then create a teleportation formation that would draw the power of the ultimate ruins into the Earth realm, creating the laws of the Earth realm and speeding up its transformation. However, there was nothing here, not even space. Where was Zhao Fu going to build a teleportation formation? If he wanted to build a teleportation formation, he had to find a starting point. Zhao Fu looked around at the deathly silence around him. There was no sound at all, making his hairs stand on end. He had just warned himself to leave after setting up the teleportation formation and not to be curious or explore. However, Zhao Fu had no choice now. He could only explore and hope that he could find a starting point to build a teleportation formation and go back. Zhao Fu flew forward, but there was still nothing. Zhao Fu continued flying forward, but there was still nothing. A few days later, Zhao Fu frowned and stopped in the void. There was still nothing around him. With Zhao Fu's current flying speed, he could fly dozens of worlds in a few days, but he still could not see anything. Was there really nothing in the ultimate ruins? Was everything nothing? Zhao Fu thought about it and decided to search again. If he really could not find anything, Zhao Fu could only go back. Flying forward did not work, so Zhao Fu looked at the endless darkness below him. He decided to fly down to see if he could find anything. He saw Zhao Fu's body rapidly descend. This continued for a few days. Zhao Fu's body was covered in sweat and he looked tired. There was still nothing around him. Not only was there no end to moving forward, there was also no end to descending. Zhao Fu decided to take a look. If he really could not find anything, he would go back. Another half a day passed. Zhao Fu could vaguely see something in front of him. He was instantly delighted. After so long, he had finally found something. He immediately flew forward. The thing in front of him became clearer. It was a very large platform. The platform was 100,000 meters wide, and it was hexagonal. It floated in midair, and the ground was covered in white bones. There were 6 stone pillars at the 6 corners. The platform gave off a terrifying feeling of the unknown. Zhao Fu flew in front of the platform and his expression turned solemn. This platform could be very dangerous. Should he go up? However, if he did not go up, he would not be able to find anything else. The teleportation formation would not be completed. Chapter 23:42. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu decided to go up. This was the only thing that Zhao Fu had found in the past few days, and Zhao Fu was not sure if he would be able to find a second one after leaving. Zhao Fu understood that the platform was dangerous, so he cautiously approached it. There was not much danger near the platform. There was not much danger when he stepped on the platform, but when he stepped on the bones, he felt a powerful yin chill, and Zhao Fu's body felt quite cold. This was a massive amount of yin qi, and the bones on the platform were the bones of extremely powerful creatures. Otherwise, it would not have been possible for it to give off such a massive amount of yin qi. Zhao Fu looked around and saw that there were all sorts of bones on the ground. Some were human bones, some were beast bones, some were demon bones, some were outlander bones, and some were from the god race. Some of them were hard to tell what kind of bones they were. They looked strange and terrifying. For example, they looked like skulls, but snake teeth grew out of their forehead. Some of the bones were long and had human facial features. Some of the bones had bone spurs. What is this place? Zhao Fu looked around and thought to himself. He did not know what this platform was for, why it had appeared here, and why there were so many bones on the platform. Zhao Fu did not want to pursue these things, and he decided to see if there was any danger before setting up a magic formation here. Zhao Fu continued onwards. Zhao Fu still did not sense any danger, and nothing happened. In the end, Zhao Fu walked towards the center of the platform. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a terrifying, dark, and chaotic power exploded out. Blood flowed out from the center of the platform, and a bloody smell spread out. Swish! Suddenly, a tentacle shot out from the blood, bringing with it an earth-shattering power as it whipped towards Zhao Fu incredibly quickly. It was like a black blur, not giving him any time to react. However, as blood flowed out, Zhao Fu put up 3 defensive barriers to protect himself. Bang! The tentacle slammed into the defensive barrier, causing it to instantly shatter. Zhao Fu was sent flying back 1,000 meters and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. His body felt as if it had been shattered, and he felt intense pain. These tentacles were so strong. Zhao Fu lay on the ground, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. His face was pale as he looked at the tentacle in the center. This tentacle was bluish-black in color and covered in scales. At the very end of the tentacle was a bluish-green eyeball, which was currently looking at Zhao Fu. It was filled with an evil, chaotic, and cruel aura, causing one to feel fear from the depths of their soul. Whoosh! The tentacle continuously grew and shot towards Zhao Fu incredibly quickly, bringing with it a shocking amount of power. Zhao Fu was startled and quickly dodged to the side. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the tentacle struck where Zhao Fu had been lying. Countless broken bones shot out, bringing with them a terrifying force. The platform was made of some unknown material, but even after withstanding such a terrifying attack, there was not a single crack on it. The tentacle did not attack Zhao Fu, and one of the eyes looked at Zhao Fu before shooting towards Zhao Fu with immense power. Zhao Fu immediately entered the state of Pantheon. His hair turned the color of a glazed crystal, and an ancient mirror appeared between his brows. Boom! A terrifying white beam of light shot out from the mirror between Zhao Fu's brows, bringing with it an all-destroying power as it shot towards the tentacle. It was incredibly fast, and everything around it was dyed white. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the tentacle and the beam of light collided, resulting in a massive explosion. Countless pieces of flesh and blood flew everywhere, and a shockwave spread out, forcing Zhao Fu back 4 or 5 meters. The tentacle directly exploded, and the broken part of it lay on the ground, dripping with black blood. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a pillar of blood shot into the sky from the center of the platform. It was hundreds of meters tall, and a massive creature's figure gradually appeared. A terrifying power that could cause people to feel despair spread out, and even space seemed to be torn apart. This was a monster that looked like an octopus, but its head was like that of a cow's. It did not have horns, and it only had a triangular eye. Its body was covered with bluish-green scales, and it had tentacles, each of which had an eyeball. What kind of monster is this? Zhao Fu was filled with shock. Sensing that power, he felt an intense sense of terror. A single tentacle had been incredibly terrifying, and it felt like it could shatter the ground. Now that its entire body had appeared, it was more than 100 times stronger than the tentacle from before. Zhao Fu immediately wanted to turn and run, as he felt that he was not a match for this monster. However, the monster had already turned its triangular eye to look at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu felt his body being locked down, and everything around him seemed to have become corporeal. Swish! 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 The monster shot out tentacles, each containing terrifying power. They quickly shot towards Zhao Fu, as if they could shatter everything. Boom! Zhao Fu hurriedly exploded out with all of his power, and his body gave off a boundless divine light that illuminated the surroundings. The powerful power allowed Zhao Fu to barely break free from the restraints of that power, but the tentacles had already reached Zhao Fu. Boom, 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 boom. At that moment of danger, 6 enormous rumbling sounds rang out. The 6 stone pillars on the platform released powerful rays of light, and 6 figures rushed out. They wore armor on their bodies and held weapons in their hands. They released divine light, as if they were divine generals, powerful and dignified. Swish! Swish! They quickly pierced through the monster's body like rays of light before turning and piercing through the monster's body. They circled around the monster's body and continuously darted about, piercing through the monster's body. Roar! 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 The monster howled miserably as its body started to rot. It no longer looked like it had before, and in the end, it collapsed into a puddle of blood. The blood that had flowed out from the platform retreated, and it seemed to have returned to how it was before. It was as if the monster had never appeared. The 6 majestic-looking divine generals turned into 6 rays of light and shot into the stone pillars, and only then did the surroundings return to normal. Zhao Fu had a look of shock on his face. Those 6 divine generals were so terrifying. Such a powerful monster was killed without any resistance, and it felt as if they were only slightly weaker than almighty experts. At the same time, Zhao Fu also found out what this platform was for. This platform should have been used to seal that monster. That monster had not been truly killed, and its main body was still sealed. The one that was killed was just a clone. That monster's clone was already so powerful, so its main body was definitely more terrifying than almighty experts. It might even be an immortal-level existence. Zhao Fu was suddenly shocked by his own thoughts. How could he meet an immortal-level existence so easily? Wasn't this returning ruins too terrifying? A monster that was as powerful as an immortal was actually sealed here for who knows how many years. How strong was the person who sealed it? This place was really not a place that Zhao Fu could come to. It felt like this place was 100 times more dangerous than the half-immortal world. Although there were immortals in the half-immortal world, it would definitely not be so easy to meet one. Chapter 23:43. Zhao Fu looked around and turned to leave. This place was too dangerous and was not suitable as a teleportation point. That sealed monster was not dead yet, and who knew how long it would take for it to come out. Since he could not defeat it, he could only choose to hide. Now that he could at least find something, Zhao Fu felt a bit more confident. He continued to fly to see if he could find something else to use as a teleportation point. A few days later, Zhao Fu felt quite helpless and returned to the original platform. Bottomless Ruins was boundless, and he had no idea how big it was. Zhao Fu searched for a few days but did not find anything, so he could only return here. By now, Zhao Fu felt quite troubled. This place was too dangerous and was not suitable as a teleportation point. However, after searching for a few days, he did not find anything. Thinking about it, Zhao Fu had no other choice. He had already spent nearly 10 days here, and he could not continue like this. He could only choose this place as a teleportation point. Choosing this place as a teleportation point had a few problems. The first was that the sealed monster was very dangerous and could appear at any moment. The key was that it was more powerful than Zhao Fu, so it would be quite difficult for it to deal with. The second was that this was a sealed region, and Zhao Fu did not know if a teleportation channel could be built here or if the teleportation channel would also be sealed. The third was whether it would cause the seal to change and release the celestial monster. Once such a terrifying existence was released, the consequences would be catastrophic. These were the 3 things that Zhao Fu was most worried about. After dealing with the first one, Zhao Fu once again went to the center of the stage, where the blood had just flowed out. Zhao Fu could sense the massive sealed space. The monster that was sealed within covered an area of 1,000 kilometers and was incredibly massive. It furiously roared. Even though Zhao Fu was standing outside the sealed space, He could clearly sense this terrifying power, and his body felt quite cold. Before, Zhao Fu had guessed that it was a celestial monster, and now, he was sure that it was. This power far exceeded that of a higher being. However, even though it was a celestial monster, the seal was even more powerful. It sealed the monster's body and prevented it from escaping. As the monster continuously charged at the seal, along with the countless years of weakening, some problems appeared in the seal, and a small crack appeared. The monster had used this crack to leak its power out, which was what had just happened. The seal also had a trick up its sleeve. If the monster dared to come out, it would be killed by the 6 god generals. Although the monster wouldn't die, having its doppelgangers killed over and over again would weaken the monster's origin energy. If more of its doppelgangers died, its origin energy would weaken, and it might be sealed until it died. However, if it did not use its doppelgangers and used some other method to break the seal, this powerful seal might be broken one day. It still had hope of escaping. That tiny crack was its only hope. Without that tiny crack, its power would not be able to leak out, and it would be even more difficult to break the seal. There was even a high possibility that it would be sealed until its death, never to be able to escape that place. The monster did not want to end up like that, so it had been trying to break out of the seal. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a sinister smile. It was possible for the monster to escape, but it was a pity that it had encountered Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu wanted to repair this small crack. Because the crack was quite small, with Zhao Fu's power, he could do it. If the seal had been greatly damaged, Zhao Fu definitely would not be able to repair it. After all, this seal had been set up by an incredibly terrifying person. Boom! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as 7 different colored emperor stars giving off immense pressure slowly descended from the sky, seeming to be unable to withstand it. The 7 stars gave off dazzling light, seeming to light up the entire world. There was not a trace of darkness left, and the world was dyed rainbow-colored. If anyone saw this scene, they would be greatly shocked. After all, 7 emperor stars were descending at the same time, and it was something that they would never see a second time in their lives. Normally, seeing one was already quite lucky, and seeing 7 at the same time was simply unimaginable. The scene in the rainbow-colored world was quite shocking. It was not as dark and empty as before, and it was much more beautiful. Even though it was just a small crack, it was quite difficult for Zhao Fu to repair it with his own power. As such, Zhao Fu used the power of the 7 emperor stars to repair that small crack. If that crack could be repaired, the monster would forever be sealed within this space, and would not be able to escape. As such, Zhao Fu did not have to worry about it. Within the sealed space, the monster could sense the 7 supreme emperor stars in the sky and was shocked by this scene. It had never seen 7 supreme emperor stars descend together before. When it sensed what Zhao Fu was going to do, it immediately gave a massive roar, warning Zhao Fu not to do this, or else Zhao Fu would pay a heavy price. At the same time, it felt that it was quite unlucky to have encountered such a monstrous person. Even though he had not matured yet, his potential was unimaginably terrifying, and he would surpass it sooner or later. Zhao Fu naturally ignored the monster's roar and raised a hand. The 7 emperor stars gave off a massive formless power, causing the sky to become heavy and oppressive. Boom! 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 Zhao Fu pointed out with his finger, and the 7 emperor stars gave off boundless emperor star power, forming 7 pillars of light that gave off shocking auras as they descended. They landed where Zhao Fu was pointing at, which was the center of the platform. Within the long crack in the sealed space, 7 different colored orbs of light appeared. The orbs of light gave off boundless light, which covered the crack and started to repair the sealed space. Kamiden had become a great deadale. The monster was actually an intelligent creature, and it roared as it spoke. However, Zhao Fu could not understand what language it was speaking, and he felt that it was definitely not a language from the Heaven Awakened world. Even though Zhao Fu did not know what it was saying, it seemed to be cursing and threatening him. However, Zhao Fu did not mind. With this powerful seal, Zhao Fu was not worried that it would escape. The crack in the sealed space had completely healed, but there was still a rainbow-colored mark on its surface, giving off a faint Emperor star power. Now that the seal had been repaired, the monster's clone would not be able to escape. There was no longer any danger here, and Zhao Fu did not have to worry about the monster anymore. It could be used as a teleportation channel. Chapter 2344. Following that, Zhao Fu began to build the teleportation array. He was rather careful during the process, as he was worried that he would destroy the seal and release the terrifying monster. In the end, Zhao Fu had worried too much. The seal was extremely powerful, and was not affected by Zhao Fu at all. Now, Zhao Fu was relieved. The teleportation array was 1,000 meters wide, and was located at the center of the platform. The core of the teleportation array was also the entrance to the seal. The reason for doing this was that Zhao Fu was mainly worried that someone would destroy the teleportation array. If someone destroyed the teleportation array, it was very likely that they would directly touch the seal. The 6 divine generals would appear and kill the person who touched the seal. Another reason was that Zhao Fu wanted to use this platform to guide a large amount of Ruin's End power into the land. The platform did not look ordinary and was definitely a powerful treasure. Otherwise, it would not have existed in Ruin's End for so long. Furthermore, the terrifying monster from before could not cause any damage to the platform at all. Therefore, Zhao Fu wanted to use this platform to guide a large amount of Ruin's End power into the land. This place was very safe and was protected by the seal, so there was no need to worry about it being damaged. Now that the teleportation array was completed, Zhao Fu's goal had been achieved. He came to the center of the array and Zhao Fu was about to return to the land through the teleportation array. Wait! Zhao Fu, who was standing at the center of the teleportation array, heard a voice in his mind as a trace of consciousness entered Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu was stunned as he looked at the sealed space beneath his feet. The monster was talking to him. As it was a direct spiritual communication, even if Zhao Fu could not understand its words, he could understand its consciousness. When the monster had shouted angrily, Zhao Fu had understood that it was an intelligent creature, so he was not too surprised. Now Zhao Fu was only a little surprised. This monster should have hated him, so why did it suddenly ask him to wait? Its tone was not as angry either. Zhao Fu thought for a moment and asked with a smile, "What's the matter?" The monster said in Zhao Fu's mind, "I can give you anything you want. After you become powerful, let me out." The monster suppressed its anger and spoke seriously to Zhao Fu. It had been sealed here for who knew how long, and if that crack was still there, it would have a bit of hope of slowly breaking the seal. However, Zhao Fu, that bastard, had directly mended the crack and built a teleportation array here. In the future, it would be difficult for this boy to fill the crack. This way, it would not be able to escape and could only hope that it would be destroyed by Zhao Fu. It could only hope that it would be destroyed by Zhao Fu. Even though this boy was weak and could not break the seal, it could not. Even if it destroyed the seal, it would not be able to break it. Zhao Fu would not be able to break the seal. With its growth, Zhao Yuchen that Fu would not be able. And Fu would be able to break the seal. Right now, it only had one choice. Otherwise, it would be sealed until it died. Zhao Fu could not help but smile. This monster was a celestial-level existence, and would definitely have many precious treasures. If it could be obtained, it would be of great help to Qin. Moreover, Zhao Fu would definitely wait until he had the strength to resist the monster before letting it out. Otherwise, no matter how great the benefits were, it would not be possible to let it out right now. "What benefits can you give me now?" Zhao Fu asked as he smiled. This caused the monster to feel quite awkward. It was currently sealed and could not take out anything. Moreover, many of its items had been damaged, and even if they were damaged, they were only a small portion. The monster thought about it and said, "I can give you powerful celestial legacies and all sorts of terrifying secret technique. What do you think?" Zhao Fu looked quite disappointed. In actuality, Zhao Fu did not lack powerful celestial legacies and terrifying secret technique. It was just that he did not have the time to develop them. Just these legacies and secret techniques? Is there nothing else? Zhao Fu asked. Looking at the disappointed Zhao Fu, the monster felt quite unconfident. Now that I'm sealed here, I can only send you some celestial legacies and secret technique. If you let me out in the future, I'll give you everything you want. Zhao Fu thought about it. After all, the monster was a celestial level existence, so perhaps the things it had would be of some use. As such, he said, "All right then. Now, give me everything you have." The monster let out a sigh of relief and said, "Let's sign a soul contract first in case you don't let me go or I hurt you in the future." Zhao Fu nodded and felt that it was fair. However, Zhao Fu did not let his guard down. Even though the soul contract was signed with the soul, it was possible for it to be broken. Both sides controlled a portion of their soul power to fly out and fuse together. After defining the contents of the contract, the soul power split into two portions and flew into their bodies. The monster sent everything it had into Zhao Fu's mind, and Zhao Fu felt an intense pain in his head, as if a large amount of something was being poured into it. After a while, Zhao Fu's pain lessened and there was a lot of information in his mind. However, after looking through it, Zhao Fu still felt quite disappointed. "Is this all you have?" Even though the secret techniques and legacies that the monster had given him were powerful, they were far more than Zhao Fu had expected. Hearing Zhao Fu's words, the monster felt quite awkward. "Right now I'm sealed, so I can't give you the truly powerful legacies and secret techniques through this method. You have to wait for me to come out." Zhao Fu felt quite helpless. He felt that this celestial level existence was too poor and did not have anything he wanted. After thinking about it, he felt that it was not bad to obtain some information from it, so he asked, "What kind of creature are you? And who sealed you here?" The monster said, "I'm a spirit of the sinkhole that was born in the sinkhole. Back then, I was sealed here by a celestial." Zhao Fu was quite surprised. This monster was a creature from the sinkhole, so it should be very clear about the sinkhole. As for being sealed by a celestial, that celestial was probably at the celestial level. Celestials were still existences that Zhao Fu could not come into contact with, so it was still too early for him to understand the celestial level, so Zhao Fu did not ask too much about it. "Since you're a creature from the sinkhole, you should know what kind of place the sinkhole is, right?" Zhao Fu asked curiously. The monster replied, "You're wrong. Even though I'm a creature from the sinkhole, I don't know everything about the sinkhole. I can only tell you a small amount of information." Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and said, "Tell me what you know." Chapter 2345. The monster began to speak of the information it possessed. It was born directly from nothingness and was not born or created. From the moment it was born, the sinkhole lifeforms were extremely powerful. They were only one level weaker than mighty figures. After it was born, the monster wandered aimlessly in the sinkhole. There was nothing in the sinkhole, and the monster did not feel hungry. It was born with the ability to absorb the power of the sinkhole. The sinkhole lifeforms relied on the power of the sinkhole as food to replenish their energy. They also relied on the power of the sinkhole to grow. After the monster wandered in the sinkhole for a period of time, it encountered a few sinkhole spirits like it. However, both parties had a friendly relationship. They warned the monster not to bring it into their territory or they would devour it. Back then, the monster had not been born for a long time. It could not beat these sinkhole spirits and could only avoid them. Later, after wandering for a period of time, the monster had its own name. It was Kedem, and it also possessed some information about the sinkhole. A large part of the sinkhole was empty, but a small part of it had other things. These things included continents that floated in the void, giants that were larger than worlds, ancient trees that spanned tens of millions of miles, extremely huge round stones, huge glass-like eyes, beasts that were as huge as continents. Many of these things were not living beings but dead things. They were not born from the sinkhole but came from other planes. The sinkhole was the final destination of all things in the world. As it had existed for an unknown period of time, there were many things that were extremely ancient. Sometimes, people from other planes would enter the sinkhole to explore it. These explorers were at least immortals. If they were just ordinary mighty figures, it was very easy for them to die here. Kedem was also a monster. After countless years of growth, it occupied a territory in the sinkhole, including a dead ancient planet. However, its territory was discovered by a mystic immortal. Then, it was forcefully sealed. It did not know what happened after that. It had been sealed here for about 6,000 years. This was the information Kedem knew. Although it knew of the existence of the sinkhole's depths, it had never had the courage to take a step there. It was an instinctive fear. It was not just it. Even sinkhole spirits that were more than 10 times stronger than it did not dare to go there. They usually stayed far away and did not even want to get close. After hearing Kedem's explanation, Zhao Fu had a basic understanding of the sinkhole. The lowest level explorers here were celestials, and higher beings could die at any moment. An Emperor Heaven Realm expert like him was not enough here. Luckily, Zhao Fu had only encountered Kedem and did not encounter anything else. Zhao Fu then asked, "How much do you know about the celestial world? Is there a way to draw celestial qi from the celestial qi from the celestial world?" "I'm just a spirit of the ultimate. I've always been in the ultimate, so I know very little about the immortal realm. I don't know how to guide immortal qi down to the lower realms, but I have a way to guide the power of the ultimate to your world above." Zhao felt that, and Zhao Fu that sinkhole that celestial qi from the same thing. From. That, it. The method that Kedem had was quite powerful. Zhao Fu smiled and asked, "What is it?" Kedem also gave a trace of a smile. There was finally something that was useful to him. Otherwise, that idiot would not have helped him without any benefit. Following this, Kedem directly sent that method into Zhao Fu's mind. Zhao Fu immediately looked at that method. This method was called the 10 Abyss Earth Legacy. Not only could it draw a world's power into another world, but it could also absorb a world's source energy into another world. It covered a large area and was very powerful, and it could absorb source energy. It was many times more effective than Zhao Fu's previous method. Zhao Fu's previous method only drew some sinkhole energy into the Earth realm, which was quite slow and covered a small area. Now that he had the 10 Abyss Earth Legacy, these problems could be solved. Now there were no more problems. He had a way to deal with the Earth realm, but it was a pity that he did not have any leads on the Heaven realm. Zhao Fu teleported back to the Earth realm and started to gather materials to set up the 10 Abyss Earth Legacy. As for Kedem, he just left him there and did not need to worry about anything. He could not threaten Zhao Fu at all, and it would take a long time for him to be released. After all, he was a celestial and had lived for so many years. If Zhao Fu had any questions, he would know. That was his only value now. The 10 Abyss Earth Legacy took a day to set up. There was now a 10,000-meter wide magic formation in the reincarnation space. It was formed from 10 gigantic runes. Back at the sinkhole, there were 10 massive rhombus-shaped crystals floating in the air. They formed a circle that was 100 meters wide and gave off a faint light. They contained immense power. Zhao Fu stood at the center of the magic formation and pressed a hand on the ground. The 10,000-meter wide magic formation was activated and gave off all sorts of light. The 10 giant crystals in the sinkhole gave off boundless light that shone in all directions. A massive suction force appeared as boundless sinkhole energy gathered towards the 10 crystals and entered them. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive wave of sinkhole energy exploded out from the magic formation like a volcano. It turned into a black beam of light that shot into the sky and smashed into the sky, causing a terrifying ripple to spread out. A long black pillar of light was formed and gave off a massive aura. Waves of sinkhole energy spread out like a flood and spread out in all directions. The reincarnation space was affected by the sinkhole energy and started to change. The samsara power and sinkhole energy were fusing, forming a new power law. Zhao Fu, who was at the center of the pillar of light, was being baptized by the sinkhole energy. Countless waves of sinkhole energy surged into Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu's body uncontrollably absorbed this dark and chaotic power. Ruin's end power was an extremely high-grade power, and Zhao Fu's body did not have any high-grade power. If he wanted to have any high-grade power, he would need an extremely high-grade power. Ordinary high-grade powers were not very useful to Zhao Fu, who had an origin bloodline. Zhao Fu felt like he was a freak. He dared to fuse any power or bloodline into his body. After an hour after Zhao Fu grasped the sinkhole energy, he walked out of the pillar of light. Chapter 2346. This pillar of light would not disappear, and it would continuously send ruins of end power into the reincarnation space. The reincarnation space was located in the depths of the Earth realm, and it would be the first to be changed by ruins of end power. This change would continue to rise until the entire Earth realm was changed, and the Earth realm would become a new world. Now that the matters in the Earth realm had been completed, only the matters in the Heaven realm were left. As for ruins of end, Zhao Fu naturally did not dare to explore that place. Only Celestials had the ability to explore that place, and Zhao Fu, an Emperor Heaven realm expert, would not even know how he had died. If there was nothing important there, Zhao Fu would not go there. Following this, Zhao Fu went to the Heaven Spirit Pavilion to gather some information about the celestial world, but he did not find anything. However, Zhao Fu had a plan for the celestial world. The first was to find a crack to the celestial world or a half-celestial world without a saint-grade faction and use the 10 underworld passage to send celestial chi into the Heaven realm. The most important thing was the crack to the celestial world and the half-celestial world. If he could not find those two things, it would be useless. Those two things were incredibly important to any faction, and it was impossible for any information about them to be leaked. As such, Zhao Fu had not found anything. As such, Zhao Fu could only put this matter aside and return to the Qin Imperial Palace and order people to gather information about the alliance. Over the 10 or so days that Zhao Fu had left, the alliance's situation had not changed much. One faction resisted the Qin Empire and the Philosopher's Stone, and anyone who used the Philosopher's Stone would be killed without any room for negotiation. As such, many people feared the Philosopher's Stone and did not want to have anything to do with it. However, they had personally seen the benefits of the Philosopher's Stone, and they were quite dissatisfied with the faction's domineering way of dealing with it. One faction did not prohibit the Philosopher's Stone from being used, and it could now be bought in shops without any penalties for using it. After experiencing the benefits of the Philosopher's Stone, their hostility towards the Qin Empire decreased. At least 1/3 of the Alliance's soldiers who were secretly in contact with the Qin Empire used the Philosopher's Stone and grasped alchemy power. Now, Qin didn't use much of the Philosopher's Stone that he made. Most of it was given to them. Zhao Fu sat on his throne and read through this information. He felt that it was time to carry out the next step of his plan, so he smiled and said, "Wang Ergu, leak the news that Qin and the other factions in the alliance are in contact with Qin to the factions that are hostile to him. Be discreet and include some of the factions that are not in contact with Qin." Some people might think that Qin was trying to win over those people to divide the alliance, but in fact, Zhao Fu's plan was not like that. Qin was their enemy, and they had never been in danger. If they wanted them to obey, they had to conquer them. It was impossible to win them over to join Qin. Zhao Fu's main goal was to make them his targets to harm. In one of the rooms of the restaurant, a strong man was sitting at a table with two good-looking women in his arms. There were also a few women beside him who were serving food and pouring wine. There were even some who were dancing and playing the piano. At that moment, the big man laughed drunkenly and said, "Perform well, and you'll all be rewarded." As the big man spoke, he took out a large bag of money and threw it on the table. He opened the bag, revealing the gold coins within. The women looked at the bag of gold coins in surprise and smiled, trying to please the big man. One of the women in the big man's arms smiled and asked, "Sir, how come you have so much money?" The big man smiled and said, "This is a secret. I can't tell you." The woman lay in the big man's arms and said seductively, "Sir, don't you trust us? You've been here a few times. Don't you know us?" The woman next to him brought a glass of wine to the big man's mouth and said coquettishly, "Sir, just tell us. We won't tell anyone." The big man drank the glass of wine and smiled as he said, "This money was given by Qin. Qin is simply too rich." Hearing this, the women in the room felt quite startled. They looked at each other and asked with a coquettish smile, "Sir, aren't you from the Donan kingdom? Why did Qin give you so much money?" The big man smiled as he said, "Actually, you don't know this, but the Donan kingdom has been in secret contact with Qin for a long time. Do you know why our kingdom has so many philosopher's stones? We don't need to pay for these philosopher's stones. They were all given to us by Qin." Hearing this, the woman gave a moving smile and raised another glass of wine as she said, "Sir, have another glass. We'll serve you well tonight." The big man finished the glass of wine in one gulp and started to kiss the woman. The woman cooperated with the big man and gestured with her eyes for another woman to leave the room. The woman understood and left the room, immediately reporting the news to her superiors. The woman in the big man's arms smiled coquettishly and asked about Qin, and the other women cooperated with her. A few hours later, the big man drunkenly left the restaurant and came to a secret room. He instantly sobered up and looked at the hooded man, who only revealed his side face, and respectfully bowed as he said, "Lord Wang, I've done what you wanted me to do. They didn't suspect me at all." Wang Ergu gave a trace of a smile as he said, "I got it. You've done a great service. When Qin attacks this place, I'll promote you by 4 ranks." The big man looked quite excited as he smiled and said, "Thank you, Lord. I'll be loyal to the Qin Empire." All of this had been planned by Qin. The big man was a minor official in the Donan kingdom, and he had submitted to Qin. The restaurant belonged to another faction, and it was responsible for gathering intelligence in the Donan kingdom. Wang Erge had the big man go to the restaurant and deliberately leak the news. This method was quite secretive and would not be easily discovered. The most important thing was that this matter was real and not fake. After that faction received the news, it immediately started an investigation and informed the factions that it could trust. After hearing about this, the factions that were hostile to Qin's faction's expressions greatly changed. They had never thought that so many factions would have connections with Qin. If this matter was not dealt with quickly, the alliance would be destroyed. They also quietly gathered together, each of them wearing a solemn expression. Damn it! Those bastards actually dared to contact Qin, and they seemed to have a good relationship with him. They said that they wanted to be united, but they had long since betrayed the alliance. They're a bunch of trash, damn trash. Alright, stop cursing. The most important thing right now is how to deal with this matter. Even though we're quite powerful, they don't have any fewer people than us. If we don't deal with it well, the alliance will immediately split in half. Chapter 2347. So be it. I don't want to stay with these disgusting fellows. I want to go and kill them. Let's see who still dares to contact Qin. What are you shouting for? If you have the ability, go by yourself. Do you think they're a united faction? They're scattered all over the Alliance, and if you act against them, the Alliance will fall into chaos. That's right. Not only are there many of them, but they're also scattered all around us. Adding on the fact that they've obtained a large number of Philosopher's Stones, if we fight, the outcome might be disadvantageous to us. I understand now. No wonder those people supported the Philosopher's Stone back then. They've long since colluded with Qin. Now we have to be wary of all people and factions using the Philosopher's Stone. It's very likely that they're Qin's people. The key is how to resolve this matter. What ideas do you have? Hurry up and tell us. I'm worried that those fellows will join hands with Qin to destroy us. I don't think so. Those people aren't stupid. Without us, how can they resist Qin, Devilhorn, and Wind God? I think they're working closely with Qin for the future. They're not betraying the Alliance right now. We just need to be wary of them. Just because of this, we can't do anything big? It feels like there's a bomb next to us that could explode at any moment. I don't like that. What else can we do? They have a lot of people, and if we don't act against them, the Alliance's world will collapse. I have an idea, which is to use all sorts of methods to weaken them in the future before suddenly destroying them. We can start with some small factions. If we don't do this, when they become stronger, we'll be the ones to suffer. I feel that this is the best idea. If we just have to be wary of everything, it'll be too late by the time they attack. Since those people are working with Qin, they can't blame us. Within Qin's imperial palace, Zhao Fu sat on the throne and smiled as he asked, "How is it going?" Wang Ergu smiled as he said, "Everything is normal. There are no accidents." They've secretly gathered together to discuss how to deal with those people. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Leak this information to the factions connected to Qin. Make it more discreet and emphasize that they're secretly working together to destroy the others." Wang Ergu responded with a smile and left. When the forces allied with Qin learned that their relationship with Qin had been exposed and that the other forces had joined forces to deal with them, they were shocked and gathered together. They had already confirmed that there was nothing wrong with the information. Those people had already gathered behind their backs to discuss this matter. What should they do now? Those people knew that they were in contact with Qin and had used the Philosopher's Stone. It was very likely that they would attack them, so they should be prepared to defend or even take the initiative to attack. Now that they had used the Philosopher's Stone, the soldiers' strength and abilities had increased by a lot. They did not regret using the Philosopher's Stone to cause the current situation. Originally, the large factions were very powerful in the Alliance and looked down on the small and medium-sized factions. They didn't have much of a say, so the small and medium-sized factions could only bear with it. Now that their strength had increased and they heard that a large faction was going to attack them, they couldn't help but want to take action against a large faction. Moreover, they also had the confidence to challenge a large faction. However, someone advised, their opponents shouldn't be people from the Alliance but the Devilhorn Empire, Wind God Empire, and Qin. Everyone calmed down slightly. However, if they did not do anything, they would not be able to explain themselves, as the large factions would still act against them. In the end, the small and medium-sized factions decided to be wary of the large factions and rope in more factions to stand with them. A few hours later, both sides' meetings were concluded, and the leaders of both sides returned to their own factions. It seemed like nothing had happened, but in actuality, both sides were wary of each other. After hearing that nothing had happened, Zhao Fu felt quite surprised. The two sides had restrained themselves so well and had not started fighting. If they had, it would have been great. Qin would not have to worry about the Alliance in the future, and he could focus on dealing with the Devilhorn Empire and Aeolian Empire. Even though the two sides had not started fighting, they had split into two sides. Many of them had used Qin's Philosopher's Stone, so they were no longer as threatening as before. Before, the alliance was the most threatening, followed by the Wind God Empire and the Devil Horn Empire. Now, Zhao Fu felt that the most threatening was the Wind God Empire, followed by the Devil Horn Empire and the Alliance. The Wind God Empire had a large number of Stage 3 soldiers and had leveled up to a royal kingdom. It had also obtained the support of the number 1 faction in the ancient STEM domain, the Ancient Sword Empire, and it had become incredibly terrifying. There was also the Aeolian Empire, which was a royal kingdom in the central region. Right now it was being tied down by a few factions, and if it came out it would definitely destroy Qin first. Should he target the Aeolian Empire? However, after thinking about it, Zhao Fu felt that the Aeolian Empire did not have many weaknesses and could not be used. It was not like the Alliance, which was made up of many factions. Each faction had their own thoughts and could be easily split apart. Zhao Fu put aside the matter of the Aeolian Empire. This bone was too tough, so he left it for last. The Alliance was not in a good position to act, and if they attacked them, they would unite. In the end, there was only the Devil Horn Empire. Zhao Fu ordered people to gather all information about the Devil Horn Empire and how many factions supported it. After gathering all of this information, Zhao Fu gathered his generals to discuss how to attack the Devil Horn Empire. Now, Qin could attack the Devil Horn Empire at any time. However, what gave Zhao Fu a headache was that if he attacked the Devil Horn Empire, the Aeolian Empire, the Alliance, and the factions that supported him would all interfere. Destroying the Devil Horn Empire would be incredibly difficult. Zhao Fu could send people to discuss with the Alliance and pay them a price to have them not attack. It would take some time for the other factions to arrive, so they could stop them on the way. Finally, there was the matter of the Aeolian Empire. Qin could split some of his forces to hold back the Aeolian Empire. Zhao Fu and his generals came up with a detailed plan. They first had to see what the Alliance's attitude was. Zhao Fu immediately sent out an emissary to see if they would interfere. If they did not interfere, things would be much easier to resolve, and Qin would be able to directly attack the Devil Horn Empire. Zhao Fu gave the order to gather his army, the Earth Realm's army, and the Heaven Realm's army. If the Alliance interfered, Qin could only use the forces of the other 2 outer realms, just in case. Now, Qin's emissary had reached the Alliance. The factions that opposed Qin did not go, and only the factions that had connections with Qin went. Chapter 23:48. After hearing about this, the expressions of the factions became quite serious. Qin was already preparing to destroy the Devil Horn Empire. This was an incredibly important matter. Now that Qin had sent out an emissary, it was up to them to see how they would react. If they chose to interfere, Qin would not continue to interact with them and would view them as enemies. He would not give them any way out, and they would only be able to meet Qin on the battlefield. If they did not interfere, Qin would most likely deepen their cooperation and give them even more benefit. Even if they were destroyed by Qin in the future, Qin would not mistreat them and would even be able to maintain their current status and power. Now they started to hesitate. If the Devil Horn Empire was destroyed, only the Aeolian Empire and the Alliance would be left. Even though they would have one less threat, Qin's threat would increase. This would be quite disadvantageous to them, as they would have one less helper resisting Qin. Qin would destroy them sooner or later. However, if they interfered, they would truly offend Qin. If they were defeated by Qin in the future, they would all die horrible death. Moreover, Qin seemed to be prepared, so even if they interfered, they might not be able to stop Qin. Once they made a decision, they would have to pay the price. They started to intensely discuss this. Some supported interfering while others supported not interfering. They had not made a decision yet, as this was a decision that would decide their life and death, so they naturally would not make a decision easily. Everyone sat around a long table and discussed. There were many people, and there were many rows of chairs. Qin's emissary sat behind the table, and he was a valiant-looking young man wearing a long robe. He was called Li Luo, and he came from the school of the military and had decent talent. Li Luo looked at the people debating, and stood up as he gave a confident smile and said, "Everyone's time is limited, so make a decision as soon as possible. I also want to remind everyone that even if you all participate, the effects will not be too great. Right now, the alliance can be split into two factions. Qin understands that the other faction will definitely attack, so make preparations to attack. If you lose too much in this battle, the other half of the alliance and the Wind God Empire won't mind swallowing you up, but if the other half of the alliance loses too much, you'll have a chance to swallow them up. Think about it carefully." Hearing the young man's words, everyone hesitated before saying, "All right, we will not oppose Qin this time." Hearing this, the young man gave a trace of a smile and said, "I'll go back and report this to His Majesty." Following this, the young man returned to Qin and reported to Zhao Fu that they would not participate. If they did not participate in the battle, Great Qin would feel less pressure. Even though they could use the Philosopher's Stones to suppress them, Great Qin had given out many Philosopher's Stones, and if people found out that there was something wrong with them, they would incur the wrath of the masses. If that happened, it would not just be the ancient Stem Domains factions that would attack Qin, the Green Province Domains factions would also attack Qin. How could Qin defend against them? As such, unless it was absolutely necessary, they could not use this move at all costs. Moreover, there was another reason. They had only just fused with Sage's power, so the effects of alchemy power on their bodies were not too severe. However, as time went on, the effects on their bodies would become more severe. When that time came, Zhao Fu could make them lose their battle strength. The various factions had already made their preparations. In the godly world, groups of soldiers were lined up in an orderly manner. They wore white armor and held white weapons, and their expressions were solemn. They gave off powerful holy auras, and they were like legendary godly weapons. They formed a white ocean that seemed to be able to conquer countless worlds. In the land, groups of soldiers lined up in square formations. They wore yellow armor and held yellow weapons in their hands. Their expressions were serious, and they emitted a massive, cold, and filthy aura. It was as if they were ghost soldiers from the depths of the Yellow Springs that could reverse yin and yang and turn the human world into hell. The Qin soldiers of the mortal world lined up in rows. They wore black armor and held black weapons in their hand. Their expressions were ice-cold, and they emitted a powerful, dark, and metallic aura. They were like killing machines that could slaughter everything in the world. The Heaven Realm and Earth Realm's forces were only gathering and were not going to directly attack the Devil Horn Empire. They were going to be used as backup forces, and these two worlds' forces were Qin's hidden forces, which others did not know about. If it was exposed too early, it would definitely not be good. They would only use it at the most crucial moment, and it would definitely be very useful. Bai Qi's expression was cold, and he gave off a massive general's aura as he stood in front of Qin's army. "How can you say you have no clothes? To share robes with the sun. The king has sent troops to repair my spear. Share the hatred of my son. How can you say you have no clothes? Share the same fate with your son. King Yu Xingxing, repair my spear and halberd. To work together with my son. How can you say you have no clothes? Wearing the same dress as your son. King Yu Xingxing, repair my armor and weapons. To travel together with my son." Bai Qi's voice was very loud, and it sounded out like a drum. All of Qin's soldiers could hear it. "Yes, sir." The countless Qin soldiers gave off austere roars that pierced through the clouds. The heavens and earth dimmed, and a bone-chilling coldness seeped into one's bones. Bai Qi's expression was cold as he turned and walked to the side. The person on the other side led over a black horse with 4 hooves ablaze with green flames. Bai Qi flipped over and mounted the black horse as they walked forward. The other generals rode on their black horses and followed behind Bai Qi, and the soldiers holding the great Qin black dragon banner followed behind them. Finally, the Qin soldiers followed behind the black dragon banner. Their expressions were cold, and their movements were uniform as they strode forwards. Their footsteps were like thunder, shaking the surroundings, and they gave off an intense, austere aura. The Qin Empire had officially moved out. Within the Qin's imperial palace, Zhao Fu, who was sitting on the throne, put down the letter in his hand and gave a trace of a smile as he walked down from the throne. Wang Ergu and Lu Mei, who were wearing hoods, also gave traces of smiles as they followed behind Zhao Fu. Qin was going to attack the Devil Horn Empire. It was impossible for no one to notice Qin's massive movements. Soon, they understood that Qin was going to attack the Devil Horn Empire. This news was like a bomb exploding in a calm lake, causing everyone to feel incredibly shocked. They could sense the massive austere aura that Qin gave off, causing the world to fall into a cold winter. They could not help but feel shocked. Qin rarely gave off such a massive aura, and they felt that Qin was serious this time. A shocking event was bound to happen today, and the status quo would be broken. Everyone's expressions were serious, and they understood Qin's determination. This battle would be incredibly intense and terrifying, and who knew how many people would die? They could not help but feel nervous. They felt both anticipation and fear towards this shocking battle, and they did not know how things would develop. Chapter 2349. Yao Ming's expression was serious as he immediately gave the order to gather all of his forces to stop Qin. He felt immense pressure and felt that Qin was determined to destroy the Devil Horn Empire. With just the Devil Horn Empire, Yao Ming did not have much confidence in stopping Qin. He immediately asked for reinforcements from the Alliance and the Aeolian Empire, as well as the powerful factions supporting the Devil Horn Empire in the inner regions of the ancient stem domain. They had to stop Qin's attack. If they could not, the Devil Horn Empire might perish. Feng Shenche's expression was serious. Qin was determined to destroy the Devil Horn Empire, and the massive killing intent caused her hairs to stand on end. If the Devil Horn Empire was destroyed, Qin's next target would be the Aeolian Empire. Even though she did not like the Devil Horn Empire, Feng Shenche was determined to help the Devil Horn Empire stop Qin. Gather the Wind God soldiers. Feng Shenche gave the order, and the Aeolian Empire trembled as countless soldiers wearing green armor and holding green weapons, giving off powerful wind attribute energy, gathered together. The expressions of the Alliance factions were also quite serious as they quickly gathered their forces and prepared to support the Devil Horn Empire. Most of the forces gathered were from large factions, but some mid-grade factions and smaller factions did not move. This was especially so for the smaller factions. Sensing the massive killing intent from Qin, they understood that they would be cannon fodder if they participated. Even if Zhao Fu did not come to find them, they would not dare to participate in this shocking battle. Seeing that the mid-grade factions and smaller factions did not move, the people from the large factions felt incredibly furious. What were those bastards thinking? If Qin was going to attack them after destroying the Devil Horn Empire, why were they not willing to send troops? The people from the large factions personally sent people to those factions and had them send troops to support the Devil Horn Empire and stop Qin's attack. However, the people from the large factions were even more furious. They had said that they would not participate in this battle, but now that it was a matter of life and death, they had said that they would not participate. How could they not be angry? They wanted to slaughter all of them. However, even the large factions could not do anything. Now, the mid-grade factions and smaller factions added together were not any weaker than them. In the end, they could only gather their own forces to support the Devil Horn Empire. They made the decision that if they had the opportunity, they would destroy those factions and kill them all, or else they would not be able to vent their anger. Great Qin's army quickly gathered at the boundary of the Devil Horn Empire like a black ocean, giving off a massive aura. Countless creatures felt immense terror and their bodies trembled. This time, Qin had sent out 30 billion soldiers to attack the Devil Horn Empire, and he had left another 30 billion soldiers in reserve. The Devil Horn Empire had just been heavily injured by Great Qin and had lost 15 billion soldiers. Even though they had conquered the Pigman world, the population and resources had been split up by the other allied factions, and the Devil Horn Empire had not obtained much. Adding on the fact that the Devil Horn Empire had been fighting with Great Qin for a long time, they could not replenish the 15 billion soldiers that they had lost, and they only had 32 billion soldiers. The Qin Emperor dynasty and the generals of the Qin kingdom's army was Qin's army. Yao Qin to say, Chun Yao Qin to Horn dynasty to say, and he said, "It's time to settle our enmity. If you kneel and beg me, perhaps I'll let you live." Yao Ming coldly harumphed, "Keep dreaming. Do you think I'm that sort of person? I admit that the Devil Horn Empire is not a match for you, but don't be too confident. The Devil Horn Empire might not lose this battle." Zhao Fu loudly laughed and said domineeringly, "Then you can bear witness to the fall of the Devil Horn Empire." Boom, boom, boom. The cannons of the war saint beasts aimed at the Devil Horn Empire's defensive walls, and terrifying beams of light shot out with terrifying power towards the defensive walls, illuminating the surroundings. Boom, boom, boom. The mechanical wyverns flying in the sky opened their massive mouths and shot out massive beams of light, giving off destructive auras as they shot towards the defensive walls. The Devil Horn Empire's defensive walls immediately activated magic formations, and heaven and earth power gathered as a massive defensive barrier appeared, giving off massive power. Bang, bang, bang. Massive sounds rang out as the beams of light hit the defensive barrier, resulting in a chain of explosions. Powerful shockwaves blasted out, forming wild gales that blew away countless rocks and sand, and the ground cracked. After the light dissipated, the result was quite surprising. Even though many cracks had appeared on the defensive barrier, it had not been destroyed. It seemed that the Devil Horn Empire had prepared a very powerful defense. Moreover, Qin only had 3,000 or so war saint beasts, and adding on the mechanical wyverns, he had 6,000 or so. If they had more, they would be able to destroy the defensive barrier. Since they could not destroy it in one wave, they would try another. The cannons of the war saint beasts once again gave off light, and a terrifying power spread out. The enormous mechanical wyverns opened their massive mouths and countless rays of light shot out. Suddenly, massive auras exploded out, and massive blue eyeballs appeared in the air on the Devil Horn Empire's side. They gave off a shocking aura, and there were 20,000 or so of them. These massive blue eyeballs could only be summoned with the eyes of Lontong people. There were so many of them, and they had to dig out a large number of Lontong people's eyes. In order to stop Qin, the Devil Horn Empire had paid a great price. Boom, boom, boom. On Qin's side, beams of light containing immense power shot towards the Devil Horn Empire. They were incredibly fast and unstoppable. Boom, boom, boom. In that moment, the blue eyeballs shot out countless beams of blue light that contained power that could pierce through everything towards Qin. They were incredibly fast and tore through the air. Bang, bang, bang. Massive explosions rang out as the beams of light collided together, resulting in countless explosions. Explosive power spread out, causing the ground to crack and crumble, causing countless rocks and gravel to fly into the air. After the shock waves dissipated, there were large craters in the ground, and there were rocks and wood everywhere. It was a complete mess, as if a disaster had just occurred. Seeing that the Devil Horn Empire had indeed made ample preparations to stop Qin, Zhao Fu flew down from the ground and half squatted as he pressed a hand against the ground. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive wave of power flowed out from Zhao Fu's hand and slammed against the ground. A massive circular diagram appeared, giving off boundless black light, and a massive head slowly floated out. An extremely terrifying wave of power flooded out, causing the world to become incredibly heavy. countless people fell into terror, and their bodies uncontrollably trembled. Chapter 2350. After the massive head appeared, it was followed by the shoulders, waist, legs, and finally a 100,000-meter tall giant. Waist, legs, and finally, 100,000 meters tall giant appeared. This giant had long, black hair and a pair of black pupils. It was cold and emotionless, and it had gray skin. Its arms were like sharp claws, and it gave off a heaven-shaking aura. Zhao Fu stood on the giant's head and coldly looked at the Devil Horn Empire in front of him as he raised a hand. The primogenitor statue also raised a hand with Zhao Fu, and an enormous blood-red magatama appeared. A massive wave of power entered the magatama, causing it to give off an intense blood-red light as it quickly spun. It was incredibly fast and could not be seen by the naked eye. It was like a 10,000-meter wide blood-red disk, and it gave off a massive suction force, causing the heavens and earth to dim and clouds to swirl. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as under Zhao Fu's control, the primogenitor statue vigorously swung its hand, causing the massive blood-red disk to fly out incredibly quickly. It left a 1,000-meter wide and dozens of meters deep gash in the ground. Bang! When the blood-red disk smashed into the barrier, a massive sound rang out, and the barrier, which had many cracks on it, shattered. A powerful shockwave spread out. Yao Ming's face became pale as he witnessed the terrifying power that the primogenitor statue unleashed. Now that the Devil Horn Empire's defenses had been destroyed, Zhao Fu stood on the primogenitor statue's head and shouted, "Everyone, attack!" Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Great Qin's countless soldiers charged forwards like a flood, inundating everything in their path. Zhao Fu controlled the primogenitor statue and walked forwards step by step, causing the ground to tremble and massive footprints to appear on the ground. The god refinement beasts did not dare to move and stayed where they were. Countless mechanical wyverns flapped their wings, bringing with them wild gales as they ferociously rushed towards the Devil Horn Empire. Roar! 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 Qin's many enormous beasts were released, and they gave off massive roars as they rushed towards the Devil Horn Empire with great power, their auras shaking the surroundings. Sensing Qin's ferocious attacks, the Devil Horn Empire's army looked terrified. Yao Ming's expression became savage as he flew into the sky. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Yao Ming gave off boundless blood-red light, gathering all of the Devil Horn Empire's fate and power. The boundless Devil Horn Empire's fate and power flooded over like an ocean and entered Yao Ming's body. Yao Ming felt as if his body was going to split apart and was unable to withstand such massive power. Yao Ming immediately raised a hand and a terrifying power flowed out from his hand. Roar! A massive dragon's roar shook the heavens and earth as a massive devil dragon appeared in the sky. Its massive body covered the entire sky, and a bloody, twisted, evil, and forbidden aura spread out. This devil dragon had a human head. It was the head of a young man, and he looked somewhat similar to Yao Ming. He had a dragon's body, blood-red scales, and powerful claws. In order to stop Qin, Yao Ming had used up all of the Devil Horn Empire's fate. Even if the Devil Horn Empire won, its fate would be weakened and its stats would fall. It was not just fate. The Devil Horn Empire's most important devil vein was also summoned here, which was that devil dragon. This devil vein could nurture a large number of devil beasts and powerful soldiers for the Devil Horn Empire. It had been destroyed by Zhao Fu, but Yao Ming had personally killed his little brother and used his head to repair the devil vein, causing it to become even more powerful. Now, the devil vein was 100,000 meters wide and had fused with all of the Devil Horn Empire's fate. Yao Ming could be said to have gone all out. Roar! 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 All of the devil beasts of the Devil Horn Empire rushed out. There were massive white tigers, pythons that were hundreds of meters long, wild boars that were as big as small mountains, ferocious crocodiles, and massive birds flying in the sky, the devil beast horde gave off ferocious and destructive power as they charged at Qin, and it seemed that they could not stop them at all. Yao Ming stood on the devil dragon's head and ferociously looked at the incoming Zhao Fu, and he controlled the devil dragon to give off a massive aura as it charged over. A trace of a cold smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he stretched out a hand and grabbed at the air. The primogenitor statue also stretched out a hand, and a massive blood-red sword appeared in its hand. It sent a wave of power into the sword, causing it to give off traces of sword chi that caused space to twist. The devil dragon did not show any fear and gave off boundless light as it ferociously smashed towards the primogenitor statue. At that moment, the primogenitor statue vigorously slashed out with its sword. Bang! An explosion sounded out as the two attacks collided, causing a terrifying shockwave to ripple out. The ground seemed to collapse, and countless rocks shot out. The entire world violently trembled. The nearby factions sensed these terrifying shockwaves and their hairs stood on end, feeling incredibly shocked. Even though they could not see what was happening, they could sense that a shocking battle was unfolding. He turned his attention back to the battlefield. The massive devil dragon and the primogenitor statue both retreated a few steps before stopping. The devil dragon stretched out its powerful dragon claws towards the primogenitor statue, but the primogenitor statue used its sword to blocking the devil dragon's attack. The devil dragon's body suddenly twisted, and its massive tail gave off terrifying power as it pushed the primogenitor statue back 10 or so steps. Shing! The primogenitor statue sent a massive wave of power into its sword, and a terrifying sword light slashed out, sending the devil dragon flying. The devil dragon was only slightly injured, and it gave off a ferocious aura as it rushed at the primogenitor statue. The two of them continuously fought, and terrifying shockwaves continuously spread out, destroying everything in their surroundings. The Devil Horn armies, Devil Beasts and Qin's beasts gave off massive auras as they clashed, and they started a ferocious slaughter. The heavily armored corpse soul soldiers swung their large swords, slashing at the Devil Beasts' bodies, causing blood to fly everywhere. A massive wolf leapt over and bit a Devil Beast's body, and a spider spat out countless threads, wrapping around a Devil Beast's body. A devil beast that was as large as an ox ferociously slammed into a corpse soul soldier and sent it flying. A massive snake devil beast bit down on a massive wolf, and its body quickly wrapped around it. A massive flying bird devil beast dived down and attacked an ocean iguana with its claws. Boom! 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 The blue eyeballs and Qin's saint beast clashed, and rays of light shot towards each other, giving off massive sounds as terrifying shockwaves spread out. Qin's saint beast attacked from below, while the mechanical wyverns attacked from different directions in the sky. The massive blue eyeballs were not very agile, and they could only release defensive barriers to defend. Chapter 23:51. Some of the blue eyeballs' defensive barriers were shattered, and the blue eyeballs exploded, turning into motes of blue light and dissipating. Some of the wyverns in the sky were also shot down and heavily crashed to the ground. After the blue eyeballs were destroyed, magic formations were once again activated, and new blue eyeballs appeared. The alchemy holy beasts shot out countless beams of light that tore through the sky, shattering the blue eyeballs once again. The many blue eyeballs shot out enormous blue beams of light that blasted the alchemy holy beasts' bodies, shattering their bodies. Qin's soldiers ferociously rushed to the bottom of the city walls and started to attack. Qin's soldiers climbed up the ladders and quickly climbed up the city walls. There were ropes on the city walls, and Qin's soldiers quickly climbed up. Some of Qin's soldiers used their power to open up holes on the city walls, and they used these holes to climb up the city walls and quickly climbed up. The Devil Horn Empire threw down massive rocks and trees, smashing Qin's soldiers down. Some poured corrosive liquids down, causing Qin's soldiers' bodies to corrode, causing them to fall off the city walls. The Devil Horn archers shot out arrows, piercing through the bodies of Qin's soldiers. Blood flew everywhere as cries sounded out. Qin's side also started to counterattack. Arrows shot up the city walls, killing devil horn soldiers. They also tossed barrels of kerosene into the air, which exploded as they landed on the defensive walls, sending some devil horn soldiers flying. The battle was incredibly intense, and blood flew everywhere as cries continuously sounded out. People continuously died, and the heavens and earth seemed to be dyed red with blood. An austere aura covered the world, and the sounds of battle were like thunder that shook the surroundings. On the right, Feng Xunsha sensed the terrifying shock waves ahead, and her expression became serious. She understood that a shocking battle was about to unfold between Qin and the Devil Horn Empire, and she immediately ordered the army to speed up. The Wind God army had not fought much with Qin, and it had been developing steadily and quickly. It had long since become more powerful than the Devil Horn Empire, and it had 40 billion ordinary Wind God soldiers and 3 billion or so Stage 3 Wind God soldiers. This time, Feng Xunsha directly led 30 billion soldiers to reinforce the Devil Horn Empire. The plan was for the Devil Horn Empire to stall Qin from the front while the Wind God army attacked Qin from the sides, heavily wounding Qin. Suddenly, the Wind God army that was teleporting quickly stopped, and a general quickly reported, "Your Majesty, someone activated an isolation array and cut off our teleportation array." Feng Xunsha also sensed something, and her beautiful eyes looked forward. Teams of Qin's soldiers, who wore black armor and held black weapons in their hands, had cold expressions on their faces, and gave off a powerful, dark, and murderous aura. There were many of them, more than 15 billion, like a black ocean. The Wind God army immediately formed a defensive formation and looked at Qin's soldiers in front of them solemnly, ready to fight at any time. Feng Xunsha came to the front of the Wind God army and felt quite confused. How many soldiers did Qin send to attack the Devil Horn Empire? Or rather, how many soldiers did he send to stop the Wind God army? Tina Pendragon rode a snow-white horse with dragon horns and stood at the front of Qin's army. She had a serious expression as she looked at Feng Xunsha in the sky. Feng Xunsha gave a confident smile as she said, "Do you think that these forces can stop the Wind God army? You're looking down on the Wind God army." Tina Pendragon replied seriously, "You're wrong. Right now, Qin's greatest opponent is the Aeolian Empire." Feng Xunsha felt quite surprised as she said, "You value the Aeolian Empire so highly, yet you sent 15 billion soldiers to stop the Wind God army. Do you think you can stop the Wind God army, or do you have other plans?" Tina Pendragon knew that her role was to stall the Aeolian Empire. Now that Feng Xunsha was willing to talk to her, she naturally would not refuse and replied, "I won't say. You can guess." Feng Xunsha lightly laughed and said, "I don't want to guess or waste time. I'll say one last thing. I quite like you, so how about you come with me to the Aeolian Empire? I can depose my empress and make you my empress to control the Aeolian Empire with me." Tina Pendragon looked at Feng Xunsha as she replied with certainty, "That's impossible, and I'm not interested in women." The Wind God smiled as he said, "Then there's no other choice. We can only destroy you and bring you back to the palace. Everyone, listen to my orders and attack." Boom! Feng Xunsha gave the order, and the Wind God army ferociously charged forwards, giving off powerful wind that formed a massive green gale that could destroy everything in its path. Tina Pendragon's expression was serious as she cried out, "Line up!" Qin's shield-bearers walked to the front and lined up their shields, forming a shield wall. The second row was made up of spearmen holding black spears, and they pointed their spears at the Wind God army. The third row was made up of archers holding longbows. The archers had already drawn their bows, and there were arrows engraved with runes on them, giving off a dangerous aura. Swish, 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 the sound of the air being torn could be heard as the arrows turned into rays of light and gave off incredibly sharp power as they shot forwards incredibly quickly, seeming to be able to pierce through everything. Feng Shencha's expression fell, and she immediately had the Wind God army defend. These were Qin's talisman arrows, and Qin had used them many times. Feng Shencha understood how terrifying these arrows were. Waves of green wind flowed out of the soldiers' bodies, forming a massive green wind shield that gave off wild gales. Bang! 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 Sharp arrows tore through the air and landed on the green wind shield, piercing through it and piercing into the Wind God soldiers' bodies. Blood flew everywhere and pained cries continuously sounded out. However, a large portion of the talisman arrow's power had been blocked, so there were not many casualties. Feng Shencha's expression was cold as she continued to charge forwards and had the army attack. The Wind God soldiers sent gusts of wind into their weapons and vigorously swung them. Swish, 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 green wind blades shot towards Qin incredibly quickly, and there were many of them. Each wind blade was incredibly sharp. Qin's shield-bearers sent large amounts of power into their shields, causing them to give off a black light and form a massive black wall of light that gave off a firm aura. Bang! 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 The wind blades slammed into the black wall of light, causing sounds to ring out. The wind blades turned into motes of green light and dissipated, and cracks appeared on the black wall of light. Feng Shencha continued to attack. Just one more wave of attacks would be able to break through Qin's defenses. By then, the Wind God army would have reached Qin. Chapter 23:52. Seeing the countless blades of wind and the Wind God army that was about to reach her, Tina Pendragon had no choice but to raise a hand and shoot a ray of light into the sky. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded out as an extremely terrifying might descended from the sky, seeming to be able to shatter space itself. An indescribably huge metal object slowly sank out of a large hole. Its huge surface area covered the sky, and its shadow covered the earth, causing the light to dim. The Wind God army stared at the massive fortress before them with wide eyes, and their minds went blank. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably in the face of that earth-shattering aura, and a hint of despair welled up in their hearts. That's what Qin is preparing to defend against Wind God Qin. The Wind God's expression became grave as it felt an immense pressure. The wrath of the War God's cannons started to move, aiming at the Wind God army on the ground. An extreme sense of danger radiated forth, making people feel as if they had fallen into icy water. Feng Shencha immediately flew to the center of the Wind God army and yelled, "All soldiers, heed my orders. Heavenly Wind God!" Boom, boom, boom. The soldiers recovered from their fear and azure runes appeared on their foreheads. Bursts of azure aura surged forth and surged toward Feng Shencha. The countless azure auras gathered together to form a person with only the upper body. This person had short hair and a naked upper body. He was covered in powerful muscles, and he held a shield in one hand and a spear in the other. He was over 100,000 meters tall and gave off an extremely terrifying aura, causing the space around him to be sliced apart by gusts of wind. Boom, 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 boom. Massive explosions sounded out as the War God's fury shot out massive rays of light that contained destructive power towards the Wind God army below, giving off massive ripples. Feng Shencha's expression was serious as she controlled the azure giant to raise its shield in front of it. A massive wave of power flowed into the shield, and the shield released a barrier of light that covered the Wind God army. Some of the Wind God soldiers also started to gather toward the center. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as massive beams of light blasted against the light barrier, causing explosive power to spread out. White light shot out in all directions as the massive azure light barrier shattered. Some of the light beams landed on the edge of the Wind God army and exploded, but because their power was greatly weakened, they only caused very few casualties. The Azure Giant felt furious and sent a wave of power into its spear, stabbing towards the War God's fury with world-destroying power. The War God's fury immediately gave off a massive metallic barrier that covered its massive body and gave off a tough aura. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the Azure Spear tore open a large hole in the metallic barrier. When the Azure Spear slammed into the War God's fury, it was sent flying back 100 or so meters, and there was a large hole in it. Boom! The War God's fury exploded out with boundless power, and a massive might descended on the Wind God army, causing them to feel their bodies sink. Tina Pendragon understood that the War God's fury alone would not be able to stop the Wind God army, so she gave the order to attack the Wind God army. Kill! Great Sheen's well-prepared soldiers roared and gave off a massive aura of killing as they ferociously charged at the Wind God army. They were like a black flood giving off terrifying sounds. Feng Shenche's expression became serious as she controlled the Azure Giant to roar towards the sky, resisting the War God's fury and giving off a massive might. Charge! Seeing the Qin soldiers charging at them, the Wind God's soldiers giving off azure auras did not show any weakness. They roared and gave off immense power as they charged at the Qin soldiers. Bang! 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 One side of the army was black while the other side was azure, and they clashed together like two tides, giving off massive sounds as the soldiers of both sides started to fight intensely. A Qin soldier pierced through a Wind God soldier's chest with his spear. A Wind God soldier held a large sword and chopped off a Qin soldier's arm, and a Qin soldier kicked a Wind God soldier flying. A Wind God soldier held a large saber and gave off powerful wind as he split a Qin soldier in half, causing blood to fly everywhere. A Qin soldier held a massive axe and sent a Wind God soldier flying with a swing of his axe. A Qin soldier held a saber and vigorously swung it, and a saber light flashed as he chopped off a Wind God's soldier's head. Another Wind God's soldier furiously rushed up and stabbed his spear through a Qin soldier's throat. On the left, the Allied forces gathered together, and their plan was the same as the Wind God army. The Devil Horn army would stall the Qin soldiers while they attacked the Qin soldiers from the left. They would use this opportunity to heavily wound the Qin soldiers. The people from the alliance were the factions that were hostile to Great Qin. They had gathered 26 billion soldiers and did not even have 30 billion soldiers. Normally speaking, the Allied forces were made up of 30 or so worlds, and they should be able to send out at least 80 billion soldiers. However, they had sent out less than half of their soldiers, only a quarter of their soldiers. This was not even as many as the Wind God army. The factions connected to the Qin side kept to their agreement with the Qin side, and no matter what the other factions said, they did not send out any soldiers. Even though some of the more powerful factions had gathered together, they did not have much confidence in this battle, so they decided to wait and see. As such, they did not send out any soldiers, which was why they had sent out so few soldiers. The Allied forces sensed the terrifying shockwaves from ahead, and their expressions became quite serious. What kind of battle could give off such terrifying shockwaves? By now, even though they had not gone to the battlefield, they could sense how intense and terrifying the battlefield was. Scenes appeared in their minds of the heavens and earth dyed red with blood, the sun and moon dimmed, and corpses littered the ground. It was incredibly austere, and weapons were scattered everywhere, and the dense stench of blood could cause anyone to vomit. If it wasn't for the fact that the Devil Horn Empire being destroyed would be disadvantageous to them, they would not have dared to go, and they felt terror in their hearts. They were currently teleporting to the battlefield through teleportation channels. Suddenly, the teleportation channels stopped working, and the Allied forces' leaders' expressions fell. They immediately became wary and ordered their armies to be on guard. The Allied soldiers immediately gathered together and formed a defensive formation as they nervously looked around. These Allied soldiers could not compare to the Wind God army at all, whether it was in terms of battle power or mental fortitude. A flood of Qin's soldiers appeared in front of them, dressed in black armor and holding black weapons with cold expressions. The Allied soldiers felt quite startled. Qin had actually sent so many soldiers to stop them. They did not have much of an advantage, and they understood how terrifying Qin was. The Allied soldiers could not help but feel a trace of fear. Chapter 23:53. Now that Qin had sent so many soldiers to stop them, should they continue to reinforce the Devil Horn Empire? The Allied factions looked at each other and did not know what to do. They had 26 billion soldiers, and even if they broke through Qin's blockade, they would suffer massive losses. When that time came, reinforcing the Devil Horn Empire would not be of much use. Moreover, they knew how terrifying Qin was. Since Qin had sent 15 billion soldiers to stop them, he definitely had great confidence in stopping them. Perhaps not only would they not be able to break through Qin's blockade, but they would also suffer great losses. However, if they did not reinforce the Devil Horn Empire, the Devil Horn Empire would definitely be destroyed by Qin. Just as they were in a difficult situation, Wang Jian ordered Qin's soldiers to get into a defensive formation, with shields at the front, spearmen at the back, and archers drawing their bows. Swish, 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 the sound of the air being torn could be heard as white rays of light containing sharp power tore through the air, giving off a massive aura as they shot towards the Allied army like raindrops. The Allied army was greatly startled and hurriedly sent out their power to defend. Traces of power rose up from their bodies as a massive shield of light appeared, giving off a massive aura. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as the rays of light pierced through the defensive barrier. The sharp light flashed past, instantly slicing apart the bodies of a few soldiers, causing blood to fly everywhere and their corpses to fall to the ground. This wave of arrows had caused many casualties. There were only a few million soldiers, and a large portion of the arrow's power had been blocked. With the Allied army's massive strength, this was not much. However, the leaders and soldiers of the Allied army started to feel afraid. They did not want to continue attacking, and now that they had witnessed such a terrifying wave of attacks, they felt much more confident. I think we should retreat. We're not a match for Qin. If we don't leave, Qin will use some other methods and we won't be able to escape. That's right, we should go back and gather more people. Otherwise, with just our numbers, we won't be able to break through Qin's blockade, and our losses will be too great. That's right. Qin feels that this is too terrifying. Our powerful defensive barrier was instantly shattered by them, causing millions of people to die. Without the barrier, there would have been even more death. I also want to retreat, but what about the Devil Horn Empire? Should he be killed by Qin? At that time, only the Alliance and Wind God will be left. How can we resist Qin? Then what do you suggest we do? If we don't retreat now, what else can we do? The other reinforcements are in a similar situation, and the Devil Horn Empire is most likely doomed. Even if we go, we won't be able to do anything. I think so too. Qin has sent out his entire army to destroy the Devil Horn Empire, and we can't stop him. I have an idea, which is to hold back Qin's forces here and not let them return to help Qin's main force. This will be doing our part, and the Devil Horn Empire's fate will depend on their luck. I support this decision. We've already done our best. Whether the Devil Horn Empire lives or dies depends on themselves. The Allied armies made their decisions and formed a massive, firm formation, not showing any signs of attacking. Wang Jian could not help but smile. Zhao Fu's order was to hold back the Allied army. Now that the Allied army was not attacking, Wang Jian was naturally happy to have Qin's soldiers maintain their defensive formation. Now that the situation was in a stalemate, both sides were stalling for time. At the back of the Devil Horn Empire, Meng Tian brought many soldiers and formation masters to stop the other royal kingdoms from sending reinforcements to the Devil Horn Empire and also to cut off their path of retreat. Long Yang, Xiong Xiao, and the bald man were called Emoli, and he was from the demon race. He was a very powerful faction, and he was one of the ancient stem domain's royal kingdoms. The three of them had the best relationship with the Devil Horn Empire, and Yao Ming had spent a lot of time and women to curry favor with them. Now that they heard that the Devil Horn Empire was being attacked by Qin, they asked for reinforcements. The three factions gave them 5 billion Stage 2 soldiers, which was 1/8 of the royal kingdom's forces, to send reinforcements. This was 5 billion Stage 2 soldiers, which was equivalent to 20 billion Stage 1 soldiers. If they really came to reinforce the Devil Horn Empire, it would be incredibly difficult for Qin to take down the Devil Horn Empire. Luckily, they were in the inner regions of the ancient stem domain, which was hundreds of worlds away from the boundary regions. Even if they sent so many soldiers, it would take them a few days to arrive, and they would not be able to arrive so quickly. Moreover, the Fire Kingdom was even further away, so it would take them even longer to arrive. It would be impossible for them to immediately rush over to attack Qin. As such, there was no need to worry too much about them. Meng Tian had set up isolation barriers to prevent anything unexpected from happening. Even if they arrived quickly, they would be blocked by the isolation barriers in the end. Destroying these isolation barriers would take a lot of time, so Qin would have more time to attack the Devil Horn Empire. After hearing about this, the other factions in the alliance who had not come felt quite happy, especially those who had connections with Qin. They understood that Qin definitely had a way to stop them, and even if they sent soldiers, they would not be able to resolve the situation. Instead, they would completely offend Qin, and the outcome would be quite tragic. Some of the factions that were not as powerful started to hesitate. They wanted to attack Qin's army from another direction. If they worked together with the allied army, they might be able to heavily injure Qin's army. However, they were worried that Qin would use other methods, and if they fell for it, they would suffer great losses. Right now, both sides were in a stalemate and no battle had occurred, which made the large factions feel quite displeased. If they had probed Qin's methods, they would not have hesitated like this. The allied army was massive, and Zhao Fu definitely viewed it with great importance. He had prepared many methods to defend against the allied army, and the Heaven Realm and Earth Realm armies had been prepared to defend against the allied army. If they dared to send out a large number of soldiers, the Heaven Realm and Earth Realm soldiers would immediately move out and attack from different directions, catching them off guard. Finally, back to the main battlefield. Boom! Boom! Explosions continuously sounded out within the celestial chi as the massive blue eyeball clashed with the Saint War beasts and mechanical wyverns. Some of Great Qin's mechanical wyverns and Saint War beasts were damaged, while the blue eyeball's side suffered great losses. The mechanical wyverns and mechanical wyverns not only had powerful attacks, but because they were made of metal, they also had powerful defenses. They could take a few hits from the blue orbs of light, but the blue orbs of light could not. Chapter 23:54. Of the 20,000 or so massive blue eyeballs, there were now only 15,000 or 16,000 left. They were unable to summon any more massive blue eyeballs, and the Lontong people's pupils had all been used up. On the soldiers' side, Qin's army had already reached the defensive walls and were fighting with the Devil Horn army. Blood flew everywhere and cries continuously sounded out, and corpses were piled up on the defensive walls. A Devil Horn soldier raised a large saber and vigorously slashed a Qin soldier away. Another Qin soldier held a spear and ferociously stabbed out, piercing through a Devil Horn soldier's chest. A Qin archer shot out an arrow, piercing through a Devil Horn soldier's throat. A Qin soldier held a large hammer and vigorously swung it, killing a Devil Horn soldier. A Devil Horn soldier roared and held a large sword, chopping off a Qin soldier's head. Another Qin soldier held a large saber and chopped a Devil Horn soldier in half. The Qin soldiers had a greater advantage, and many of them were Devil Horn soldiers. However, the devil horn soldiers were not afraid, as they understood that if they could not defend their devil horn city, they would perish. As such, they could only ferociously fight against the Qin soldiers. From this, it could be seen that the Devil Horn Empire was an opponent worthy of respect, and it was not as weak as the Alliance. Roar, roar, roar. The situation on the battlefield was more or less the same, and the Qin soldiers did not have much of an advantage. The beasts on both sides gave off massive roars as they madly fought in the sky and on the ground. Terrifying shockwaves spread out and wild gales blew out. Blood flew everywhere as massive beasts fell from the sky and collapsed to the ground, dead. Finally, it was the battle between Zhao Fu and Yao Ming. Roar! The massive violet devil dragon gave off boundless violet light, dyeing the sky violet. It opened its massive mouth and spat out a violet ray of light that contained terrifying power towards Zhao Fu, causing the space around it to collapse. Xing! The primogenitor statue slashed out with its sword, sending out a massive and sharp sword light that seemed to be able to slash apart everything. It slashed the violet ray of light in half, and the massive sword energy sent the devil dragon flying back. The demonic dragon flew back a few hundred meters and let out a massive roar, causing the surroundings to tremble. Large amounts of purple demonic chi rose from its body, forming huge demonic balls. Each of the devil orbs was 10 or so meters wide, and there were many of them covering the entire world. They gave off immense power as they shot towards the primogenitor statue incredibly quickly, as if they could destroy everything. Bang 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 bang, violet devil chi slammed into the primogenitor statue and exploded, causing massive explosions to spread out. There were simply too many of them, and the primogenitor statue was blasted back a few steps and some small wounds appeared on its body. The massive purple demon dragon grasped this opportunity and gave off terrifying power as it charged at the primogenitor statue incredibly quickly. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the primogenitor statue used its arm to block the violet demon dragon. The two terrifying powers clashed together, resulting in a massive gale. Countless rocks were blown away, and long cracks appeared on the ground. The primogenitor statue took a step back and lowered one foot to the ground, blocking the violet demon dragon's charge. It raised the sword in its other hand and vigorously slashed towards the violet demon dragon. The violet demon dragon's body retreated incredibly quickly, dodging the primogenitor statue's attack. The primogenitor statue raised a hand, and a massive blood-red jade hook appeared in the air above its palm. A massive wave of power entered it, causing the blood-red jade hook to quickly spin, forming a massive blood-red light that dyed the sky blood-red. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the primogenitor statue vigorously swung its hand, and the massive blood-red light gave off world-shattering power as it slashed towards the devil dragon. As it streaked through the air, a massive blood-red gash appeared in the sky. Roar! The purple devil dragon's massive body was unable to dodge at all, and it opened its massive mouth and spat out countless traces of purple devil chi. The countless traces of devil chi formed 4 circular shields with devil beasts engraved on them in front of the devil dragon, forming a row of shields in front of the devil dragon. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out as the gigantic blood-red disc slashed at the gigantic metal shield. The terrifying power split the 4 shields apart and then directly slashed at the demon dragon's body. The devil dragon was sent flying 1,000 meters, and a massive gash appeared on its body, from which blood continuously flowed out. Xing! The primogenitor statue once again raised its sword and sent all of its power into it, causing a massive sword light to rush into the sky. Countless blood-red sword lights dyed the surroundings blood-red, and shock waves spread out, causing the weather to change and the clouds to swirl. In the distance, the Alliance and the Aeolian Empire also saw the massive blood-red pillar of light, and they felt a chill in their hearts. Boom! The primogenitor statue slashed out with all of its strength, and the blood-red sword light seemed to give off a world-splitting aura as it slashed towards the violet demon dragon. Some of the sword light was devoured by the blood-red light, and the world seemed to be destroyed. The ground violently trembled, and a terrifying gale blew out. Countless trees were uprooted, and countless rocks and sand were blown into the air. After the shock waves dissipated, a sword gash that was tens of thousands of meters wide and incredibly long appeared on the ground, and it gave off an aura of extermination. The massive violet demon dragon lay on the ground, on its last breaths. There was a massive gash on its body, and it gave off devil chi as its body collapsed. The Devil Horn Empire stood on the head of the devil dragon and coughed up a large mouthful of blood, seeming to be heavily injured. Why haven't the other armies arrived yet? Yao Ming's face was quite pale. He had already lost to Zhao Fu, and the Devil Horn Empire's devil beasts and army were not inferior to Qin's. If the other armies did not dare to come, the Devil Horn Empire would perish. By now, the other armies had not arrived yet, and Yao Ming could guess that it was most likely Qin who had stopped the reinforcements. Is the Devil Horn Empire going to perish today? Yao Ming thought back to the things that had happened in the past few decades, from when he had inherited the Devil Horn Empire's throne to unifying the Devil Horn world and growing from a world to a royal kingdom. Countless people had feared the Devil Horn Empire and marveled at its existence. Now that it was going to perish, Yao Ming did not dare to do so and felt quite furious. Following Yao Ming's defeat, the Devil Horn Empire's morale greatly plummeted. The devil beasts, soldiers, and blue eyeballs could not stop Qin at all. Bai Qi looked at the battlefield and came to a small hill by himself. He drew the Seven Murders sword and raised it with one hand, sending a wave of power into it. Boom! A blood-red ray of light giving off dense killing intent shot into the sky, giving off a massive aura as it slammed into the sky, causing countless rays of blood-red light to scatter. Chapter 23:55. Boom! A massive sound rang out as the sky seemed to be dyed blood-red. A massive planet giving off a cold and pure killing intent and a massive might slowly descended from the sky, and the entire world seemed to be suppressed by this massive power. Countless people looked at the massive blood-red planet in shock. Bai Qi's expression was cold as he raised his sword. His body gave off traces of blood-red killing intent as he lightly shouted, 7 kills. Boom! The 7 Murders star in the sky burst out with a massive 7 Murders power, which instantly spread out with a terrifying aura. One by one, the Qin's soldiers felt a surge of killing power being injected into their bodies. Their eyes turned blood-red and their bodies emitted strands of killing aura. Their strength also increased. Kill, 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 kill! Countless Qin's soldiers roared and gave off ferocious auras as they madly charged at the Devil Horn soldiers, looking like bloodthirsty demons. Ah! Cries continuously sounded out as blood flew everywhere. Devil Horn soldiers died under the weapons of Qin's soldiers, unable to stop Qin's soldiers at all. The Devil Horn soldiers, who had not been afraid before, started to feel afraid when they saw how terrifying Qin's soldiers were. Adding on the fact that Yao Ming's king had been defeated by Zhao Fu, their morale fell even further. In the end, the Devil Horn Empire's devil dragon was killed, and the Devil Horn Empire's fate quickly disappeared. The Devil Horn soldiers felt their power weaken, and they were unable to resist Qin at all. Now, the Devil Horn Empire could be said to have lost. It could not stop Qin in any way and had been slaughtered by Qin. Some ministers hurriedly ran over to Yao Ming's side and said, "Your Majesty, there's no need. The Devil Horn Empire has already been defeated. We should quickly pack up and escape. As long as the foundation of the Devil Horn tribe is maintained, with your Majesty's abilities, you will definitely be able to rise again in the future." Even though Yao Ming felt quite unwilling and furious, this was his only option. He did not want to die at Zhao Fu's hands, nor did he want the Devil Horn Empire to perish like this. He wanted to personally destroy Qin. After making this decision, Yao Ming did not waste any more time. He ordered a portion of his soldiers to hold back Qin's soldiers while the rest of his soldiers fled with him. After receiving Yao Ming's order, the soldiers quickly carried it out. A portion of the soldiers stalled Qin's army while the others quickly retreated. The demon beasts did the same. Zhao Fu stood on the primogenitor statue's head and looked at Yao Ming, who was trying to escape, and he gave a trace of a cold smile. He controlled the primogenitor statue to give off a massive aura as it rushed towards him. Yao Ming turned and looked at the incoming primogenitor statue with an unsightly expression. He could only order his soldiers to block it. The devil horn soldiers obeyed. Even though they knew that charging over was the wrong thing to do, for their king, they roared as they charged at Zhao Fu. Powerful auras exploded out as they prepared to condense something. Zhao Fu coldly smiled as he controlled the primogenitor statue and vigorously slashed out with the sword in his hand. A massive sword energy slashed out, and countless devil horn soldiers were turned into meat paste by the sword energy as they flew everywhere like ants. The devil horn soldiers at the front were slaughtered by Zhao Fu, and the devil horn soldiers at the back roared as they charged at Zhao Fu. Violet auras flowed out from their bodies, forming a massive violet shield that gave off shocking power. Xing! A massive sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu controlled the primogenitor statue to slash apart the massive violet shield. Seeing that Yao Ming was about to escape, he did not have time to pay attention to these devil horn soldiers and chased after Yao Ming. Countless devil horn soldiers desperately rushed at the primogenitor statue, but they were unable to stop the massive primogenitor statue. Qin's soldiers also madly charged over. Both sides once again started to fight intensely. Zhao Fu ordered the primogenitor statue to slaughter the devil horn soldiers as he turned into a ray of light and landed in front of Yao Ming. "You think you can escape?" Zhao Fu gave a domineering and mocking smile. Yao Ming's expression was quite unsightly as he looked at Zhao Fu hatefully and furiously. He clenched his fists, wanting to rush over and kill Zhao Fu right now. "Your Majesty, hurry and leave," the ministers by Yao Ming's side hurriedly said as they blocked in front of Yao Ming. Yao Ming did not hesitate and turned to run. Right now, as long as he was alive, there was hope. Even if the Devil Horn Empire was destroyed, he would restore it. Zhao Fu held his sword as he chased after Yao Ming. The ministers roared and gave off powerful auras as they charged at Zhao Fu. It was a pity that they were cut in half by Zhao Fu's sword and were unable to stop him at all. Xing! A sword hum sounded out as Yao Ming, who was running, was sent flying and heavily crashed to the ground. Zhao Fu appeared beside him and stepped on his body, pressing him to the ground. The ruler of the Devil Horn Empire had a noble status and was high up in the heavens. He was feared by countless people and was a peerless genius, and yet he was being stepped on by Zhao Fu. Yao Ming looked furious and tried to break free from Zhao Fu's foot, but he was unable to do so at all. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "No matter how much you struggle, it's useless. I've been waiting for this day for a long time, and stepping on you feels so good." Yao Ming was infuriated as he roared, "I'll definitely kill you." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I'm sorry, but today is the day you die. You won't have a chance." The Devil Horn Empire continued to furiously roar, "Let go of me. If you have the ability, let's fight head-on." Zhao Fu disdainfully laughed as he said, "Do you really think you have a chance at defeating me? I'm not the same person as before." Boom! An Emperor Heaven Realm power exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, causing the Devil Horn Empire's expression to become quite unsightly, and he could not believe this. His cultivation was at the peak of the world realm, and his cultivation speed was already incredibly fast. The world realm was the most powerful cultivation in the outer domains, so how could Zhao Fu have Emperor Heaven Realm cultivation? That was the highest cultivation in the central domain. Seeing Yao Ming's shocked expression, Zhao Fu smiled and did not waste any more time. He slashed out with his sword, sending out a sharp sword light. Blood flew everywhere as Yao Ming's head was chopped off. Boom! All of the Devil Horn Empire's soldiers and residents heard a massive explosion sound out in their minds as a system announcement sounded out like the sound of death, telling them that their king had died and that the Devil Horn Empire had lost. The Devil Horn Empire fell into chaos, and countless people packed their things and ran in terror. They understood that Qin would soon attack. On the main battlefield, after Yao Ming died, the remaining Devil Horn army completely lost the ability to resist and ran in terror. Qin's soldiers ferociously chased after them, and some Devil Horn soldiers knelt on the ground and surrendered. Qin also accepted their surrender. Following this, Qin's soldiers gave off massive auras as they charged into the Devil Horn Empire, quickly conquering cities. Chapter 2356. News of the Devil Horn Empire's defeat and Yao Ming's death quickly spread, shaking the surroundings. The powerful, savage, and infamous Devil Horn Empire had become history. The Devil Lord, one of the three geniuses here, and Yao Ming, who countless people feared, had fallen. Hearing this, Feng Xunsha looked quite unhappy and coldly harumphed as she gave the order to retreat. In order to break through Qin's blockade, she had lost 2 billion or so Wind God soldiers, and in the end, the Devil Horn Empire had been destroyed. Not only had she not achieved her goal, but she had also paid a great price. However, Qin's situation was not good either, and they had lost nearly 1 billion Wind God soldiers. Before Feng Xunsha left, she looked at Tina Pendragon and said, "Just you wait. Sooner or later, I'll obtain you." Seeing the Wind God army retreat, Tina Pendragon inwardly let out a sigh of relief. Even with the War God's fury, defending against such a powerful Aeolian empire had been under immense pressure. Now, there were dozens of large and small marks on the War God's fury, all of which were caused by the Wind God army. Qin's soldiers had used the Philosopher's Stone, but they had only lost 1 billion Wind God soldiers. If they had not used the Philosopher's Stone, their losses would have been even greater. Hearing Feng Xunsha's words, Tina Pendragon replied seriously, "That day won't come. Now that the Devil Horn Empire has been destroyed, you should worry about your Aeolian Empire." Feng Xunsha lightly harumphed. Tina Pendragon was right. Now, only the Alliance and the Aeolian Empire remained. After Qin destroyed the Devil Horn Empire, he would make a move against the Aeolian Empire. The Aeolian Empire would be under immense pressure, and just the Aeolian Empire alone would not be able to stop Qin. As such, they could only ask for reinforcements from other factions. "I naturally know about this. Don't get too happy so soon, Qin. I, Feng Xunsha, will definitely destroy your Qin Empire," Feng Xunsha said to Tina Pendragon. Tina Pendragon looked at Feng Xunsha and replied seriously, "I will also wait for the day Qin destroys the Aeolian Empire." Feng Xunsha did not say anything else and angrily retreated with her people. The Alliance army, which was fighting with Qin, was shocked at first, and then breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, we didn't go after you. Otherwise, we would have been defeated by Qin, and I don't know how many people would have died. Yes, the Devil Horn Empire is destined to be destroyed. Qin's faction is too powerful, and even if we go, it will be useless. Sigh. The Devil Horn Empire was such a massive faction, yet it was destroyed by Qin today. I can't help but sigh. In this world where the strong are revered, power is the most important thing. What should we do? Just thinking about the future gives me a headache. Today's Devil Horn Empire is tomorrow's alliance. Even I feel that I will not be able to stop Qin. Retreat first. There's no point in staying here. Maybe Qin will attack us again. We'll discuss this when we get back. The Alliance army started to retreat. Wang Jian did not stop them and watched as they retreated. Their formations were not in chaos, and attacking would not bring them any benefit. After hearing about the Devil Horn Empire being destroyed, the Alliance army looked incredibly shocked. At the same time, they rejoiced. Back when Qin had gone out with his full strength, they had expected this, which was why they had not gone. If they had gone, the battle would have been even more intense and more people would have died, and the victor would have been Qin. Now that the Devil Horn Empire had been destroyed and Yao Ming had died, there was nothing they could do. Seeing that the Devil Horn Empire was in chaos and could not resist at all, they did not hesitate to attack the Devil Horn Empire. Their soldiers had long since gathered and were ready to go out at any moment. By now, they had already cancelled their contract with the Devil Horn Empire and forgotten about their agreement to defend against Qin with the Devil Horn Empire. They also did not remember their conversations with Yao Ming and the Devil Horn Empire's people. Right now, they only cared about benefits. After the Devil Horn Empire was conquered by Qin, it had fallen into chaos and could not resist at all. If they attacked, they would be able to obtain a large number of people, resources, and treasures, so why would they not attack? The Alliance army ferociously charged into the Devil Horn Empire and started to take everything of value, killing anyone who dared to resist. The Alliance army felt quite good. Before, they had heard how terrifying and ferocious the Devil Horn Empire was, but now it had been easily slaughtered by them without being able to resist at all. Now that the Alliance army had suddenly attacked, the Devil Horn Empire became even more chaotic. However, this was not the end. The Aeolian Empire quickly joined in, recklessly killing and pillaging. The Devil Horn Empire was in complete chaos and despair spread. The residents did not know where to run, and blood died everywhere as cries continuously sounded out. The Devil Horn Empire was no longer powerful and ferocious, and it had become weak and powerless, looking like a living hell. Long Yang, Xiongshao, and Emoli had led their armies over, but before they had even gotten there, they heard that the Devil Horn Empire had been destroyed and that Yao Ming had been killed. They looked quite confused. Wasn't Qin just a faction that had just become a royal kingdom? How had he conquered a royal kingdom so quickly? Was his faction really that terrifying? The three of them had not fought with Qin before, so they did not know Qin's true strength. However, they would find out sooner or later. Now that the Devil Horn Empire had been destroyed, they did not rush to the Devil Horn Empire and instead returned to their own factions. Along the way, the three of them could not help but feel that it was a pity. They quite liked Yao Ming and could have been good brothers, drinking wine, eating meat, and playing with women together. Not too long ago, they had been talking about destroying Qin together and enjoying Qin's imperial concubines together. However, in the blink of an eye, the Devil Horn Empire had been destroyed by Qin, and Yao Ming's women and family had fallen into Qin's hands. News quickly spread, and the various royal kingdoms heard about the Devil Horn Empire's destruction. They all felt that it was a pity. Such a powerful kingdom and monarch had limitless potential in the future, but now everything had come to an end. In that place, they ranked Yao Ming, Zhao Fu, and Feng Xunsha as the three top geniuses. They all had extraordinary abilities, shocking talent, and great fate. The Devil Horn Empire had been destroyed and Yao Ming had been killed. Now, only Zhao Fu and Feng Xunsha were left to fight over the position of overlord of that place. The Aeolian Empire was not a match for Qin, and Qin most likely wanted to unify that region. If Qin unified that region, his kingdom would have at least 30 or so worlds, and no one would be able to stop him. Fortunately, they were quite far away, or else they would have started to worry. However, if they allowed Qin to develop as he pleased, he might threaten them one day. As such, everyone changed their opinion of Qin and felt that they had to do something. Chapter 23:57. After Qin attacked into the Devil Horn Empire, he quickly conquered region after region. The Devil Horn Empire had 10 worlds, and Qin was unable to conquer it all in a short period of time. There were still some regions that resisted. After roughly 2 days, Qin finally conquered the Devil Horn Empire. However, he did not conquer all of it, and Qin only conquered 7 worlds. 2 were taken by the Alliance, and 1 was taken by the Aeolian Empire. The Devil Horn Empire that he had taken down with great difficulty had been taken by others, making Zhao Fu feel quite displeased. However, Zhao Fu did not want to start a war, so he could only ignore this matter for now. Zhao Fu went to the Devil Horn Empire's legacy land and looked at the violet cube. He stretched out his hand and chose to conquer it. Boom! A violet ray of light shot into the sky as the Devil Horn Empire's fate gathered, forming an enormous violet devil dragon that circled in the sky and gave off a massive might. Roar! The devil dragon gave a pained and unwilling roar as its body quickly dissipated, and a large amount of fate flowed towards Qin. Countless Devil Horn residents knelt on the ground, feeling a wave of sorrow in their hearts. Today, the Devil Horn Empire had officially fallen. There were many corpses within the city, and blood was everywhere. Qin's savagery was not inferior to theirs at all, and they could only kneel in terror, not daring to resist at all. Sensing the massive amount of fate entering Qin, Zhao Fu smiled and returned to the Devil Horn Empire's palace. He sat on the throne that had belonged to Yao Ming and knelt before the Devil Horn Empire's ministers. They all respectfully and fearfully knelt on the ground with their heads pressed to the ground, not daring to even raise their heads. At the side, Bai Qi reported to Zhao Fu about the results of this battle. They had killed 20 billion or so Devil Horn soldiers and subdued 7 billion or so. They had conquered 7 worlds and taken in 200 billion people and countless resources. The Devil Horn Empire's most important devil vein had been destroyed by Zhao Fu, and it had lost its purpose and could no longer nurture devil beasts. Other than that, there were also more than 2 billion Lontong people whose eyes had been dug out. Those blue eyeballs came out from these people's eyes and were used to summon the giant blue eyeball. If Yao Ming hadn't scattered the Lontong people and used force to suppress them, the Lontong people would have rebelled long ago. Now there were more than 2 billion Lontong people whose eyes had been gouged out. Qin had to deal with them. They were blind and couldn't see anything. They couldn't do anything and would only consume resources and food. Keeping them alive would only be a burden. However, Zhao Fu was not so ruthless as to kill all of them. Instead, he ordered people to collect some methods to heal their eyes first. Although it might cost a lot of money and materials, since they were the people of Qin, Zhao Fu believed that it was not a problem to do this. This was the harvest from this battle. A portion of the harvest had been taken by the Alliance and the Aeolian Empire, and Qin would destroy them sooner or later. When that time came, those things would belong to Qin. Zhao Fu looked at the Devil Horn Empire's ministers kneeling on the ground and said, "Since you're willing to submit to me, I won't mistreat you. Don't worry about this. If there's nothing else, you can all leave." The Devil Horn Empire's ministers let out sighs of relief and hurriedly said gratefully, "Thank you, Your Majesty, for not killing us." Following this, everyone left the palace and a group of beautiful women was brought in. There were 200 or so of them, and all of them were incredibly beautiful. Some of them were from the Devil Horn Empire's royal family, and most of them were Yao Ming's concubines. Yao Ming was quite lustful, and as a member of the devil race, he was quite powerful in that regard, so he had many concubines. 6 of the most outstanding ones were Yao Ming's empress. She had long, violet hair and wore violet robes. She was peerlessly beautiful and gave off a noble aura, and she was called Yao Yu. The remaining one had a pair of wings and a fiery figure. She had a childlike face and was quite pretty. She was Yao Ming's favorite concubine, and she was called Kong Luyi. Of the remaining 4, one was a beautiful middle-aged woman with a seductive figure and an enticing aura. She was from the royal family and was called Yao Qian. Another had a slim figure and was quite pretty, and she was called Dong Shangmi. One was tall and had a cold expression. She had a pair of blue eyes, and was probably a member of the blue pupil race. She was called Lan Shanshue. The other had a voluptuous figure and was very good-looking. She gave off a virtuous and generous feeling. Now it was time to enjoy the result. Yao Ming had wanted to break through Qin's defenses and charge into Qin's harem to enjoy Zhao Fu's concubines, and he had even publicly said that he wanted to violate Tina Pendragon. For Zhao Fu to enjoy his women, it was only right and proper. An eye for an eye, he would take revenge on the Devil Horn Empire. Now, these women felt fear and hatred as they stood there and looked at Zhao Fu. This was especially so for the Devil Horn Empire's empress. She looked at Zhao Fu coldly, wanting to kill Zhao Fu right now. This was because Zhao Fu had destroyed the Devil Horn Empire and killed her man, the person she loved the most, as well as countless Devil Horn residents. All of this was caused by Zhao Fu, so Yao Yu hated Zhao Fu to the bone. Zhao Fu looked at Yao Yu and smiled as he said, "Come up." Yao Yu's expression was cold as she said, "If you want to kill me, then kill me. I won't submit to you nor will I listen to anything you say." The Lantong person, Lan Shanshue, gave a trace of a smile and took the initiative to walk over to Zhao Fu. She sat in Zhao Fu's embrace and said enticingly, "Your Majesty, I'm willing to serve you and become your woman. I am willing to serve you and become your woman. You are much better than that Devil Horn." Lan Shanshue felt quite grateful for what Qin had done for the Lantong people. Even though she was one of Yao Ming's favorite concubines, she did not like Yao Ming and was always afraid of him. However, this Qin's legatee was different. Even though he treated his enemies even more ferociously than the Devil Horn Empire, he treated his subjects and women very well. If it was Yao Ming, he would have long since slaughtered the Lantong people who had their eyes gouged out. However, Qin was willing to pay a great price to heal them because they had become Qin's subjects. Compared to Yao Ming, Lan Shanshue liked Zhao Fu more, which was why she took the initiative. Moreover, Zhao Fu had called them here to enjoy them. Even if they resisted, they could not do anything, so it was better to take the initiative to please Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out an arm and hugged Lan Shanshue as he smiled and said, "You're quite smart and understand the current situation." Lan Shanshue smiled as she said, "That's right. Now that the Devil Horn Empire is yours, we are also yours." Zhao Fu smiled as he started to play with Lan Shanshue's body, and Lan Shanshue looked quite happy. She was not pretending at all and was truly enjoying this feeling. Chapter 23:58. The women looked at each other. Some wanted to go and serve Zhao Fu to protect their lives and status, while others hated Lan Shanshue's actions and looked at Zhao Fu hatefully. Zhao Fu played with Lan Shanshue in his arms as his gaze fell on Yao Yu's body, and he smiled as he said, "You come and serve me as well." Yao Yu said coldly, "I already said that if you want to kill me, then kill me. I won't submit to you, nor will I lower myself to other women. I'm the Devil Horn Empire's empress, and I have the dignity and pride of the Devil Horn Empire." Kong Liuye, Yao Ming's favorite woman, also said coldly, "That's right. We're not such lowly women. It's best if you kill us. We're willing to die together with our husband." Zhao Fu could not help but lightly laugh. The more they acted like this, the more Zhao Fu liked them. The Devil Horn Empire's empress and concubines all wanted to submit to him. "Is that so? Are you sure? Perhaps I can fulfill your wishes right now. I'll hang everyone related to you on the city walls and skin you before sprinkling a large amount of salt on you and having you suffer immense pain before dying." Yao Yu said furiously, "You're despicable. Is this what a ruler of an empire should be like?" Kong Liuye started to feel afraid, and tears danced in her eyes. Even though she did not fear death, she did not want her family and friends to die in pain. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "You asked for all of this, and I've already given you the opportunity. Don't blame me." Hearing this, the hesitant women hurriedly said in fear, "Your Majesty, we're willing to serve you. Please don't treat us and our family like this." The concubines, who had wanted to submit to Zhao Fu, did not hesitate and also expressed their willingness to become Zhao Fu's women. They immediately walked over to the throne and surrounded Zhao Fu. Among them were two of the most outstanding beauties, Dong Shangmi and Bai Mi. There were only a dozen or so women left in the palace. Zhao Fu looked at the woman who had a look of fear and hesitation on her face, and he called out with a smile, "Bring everyone related to them to the door and torture them to death." The soldiers outside the door obeyed, and began to bring people to the entrance of the hall one by one, then tied them to the pillars. Countless cries of fear and begging for mercy sounded out, stinging the dozen or so women in the hall. Hearing their familiar family and friends cry out in fear, the remaining dozen or so women did not persist. They went up to Zhao Fu's side. In the end, only Yao Yu, Kong Luyi, and Yao Qian, who possessed the demonic Horn royal clan's bloodline, were left. Zhao Fu showed no mercy and ordered the torture to begin. Screams rang out as those people's fingers were pierced by the long needles. The intense pain made them struggle and scream, begging for mercy and cursing at Qin. Hearing these voices, the three of them revealed expressions of pain and grief, unable to hold on. Yao Qian, the beautiful woman, had tears in her eyes as she sobbed and said softly, "Enough, we are willing to serve you and become your women." A trace of a condescending smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face. No woman had ever dared to resist him, much less succeed. "Come up." Yao Qian walked up, and Kong Luyi also cried as she walked up. She turned to look at Yao Yu, who was struggling in pain, and said, "Big Sister Empress, don't hold on anymore. Don't persist anymore. Didn't you hear those screams?" Yao Yu furiously glared at Zhao Fu and stopped struggling, following Yao Qian to Zhao Fu's throne. Zhao Fu still had that condescending smile, and his voice was somewhat domineering and did not allow anyone to refuse as he said, "Kneel. Serve me." Kong Luyi and Yao Qian obediently knelt in front of Zhao Fu and started to serve Zhao Fu. Yao Yu furiously glared at Zhao Fu, wanting to chop Zhao Fu into meat paste. She was incredibly furious. As Zhao Fu enjoyed Kong Luyi and Yao Qian's service, he looked at Yao Yu and gave a trace of a smile as he said domineeringly, "Kneel." Yao Yu was incredibly furious, but she resisted Zhao Fu's domineeringness and submitted. She knelt on the ground and served Zhao Fu, and tears flowed out of her eyes as she felt incredibly wronged, furious, and hurt. Following this, lewd sounds continuously sounded out within the palace, continuing from day to night. No one came to disturb Zhao Fu, as they all knew what Zhao Fu was doing. The soldiers outside could not hear anything because sound was blocked off. Yao Yu's expression was incredibly lewd as she continued to moan. She had never thought that she would be so happy being violated by another man on her husband's throne. She had never experienced such a feeling before, and she felt that she had let Yao Ming down. Afterwards, Zhao Fu hugged Yao Yu and smiled as he said, "As the Devil Horn Empire's Empress, you're indeed more moving than ordinary women." Yao Yu's face was red as she lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and panted, her arms still wrapped around Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu had violated her the most, and she felt that her body and soul had submitted to him. She did not feel as hurt or pained as before when Yao Ming died. She just wanted to experience the warmth of passion in Zhao Fu's embrace. She did not want to say anything, nor did she have the strength to. Zhao Fu smiled as he lifted her chin and said, "You can rest here for now. Someone will take you back to Qin City later. I won't harm your family, and your status will be the same as Qin's concubines." Yao Yu's face was red as she lightly nodded. Lan Shanxue coyly smiled and hugged Zhao Fu's arm as she said, "Thank you, Your Majesty. We will properly serve you in the future, and doing it with Your Majesty was simply too enjoyable." Zhao Fu laughed before putting on his clothes and leaving the Devil Horn Palace. After enjoying himself, it was time to take care of other matters. Zhao Fu was quite open about these matters and would not sink into them. Now that they had destroyed the Devil Horn Empire and Qin City had just leveled up to a royal kingdom, Qin City needed some time to digest and stabilize, and it was not suitable for them to continue fighting. However, they could now make a plan. The alliance had split apart and was not as united as before, which could be seen from the number of soldiers they had sent out. As such, there was no need to worry about them being in danger. Back then, Zhao Fu had thought that the alliance would send many soldiers to attack, so he had panicked and sent the soldiers from the Heaven Domain and Earth Domain to attack at any moment. However, the alliance had been too cowardly and had not sent out many soldiers, and they had been easily stopped by Qin City's soldiers. Before, Zhao Fu had thought too highly of them. Now that the alliance was no longer a threat, all that was left was the Aeolian Empire. As long as they destroyed the Aeolian Empire, there would only be Qin City in this region, and no one would be able to stop Qin City in the future. Now, Zhao Fu felt that he could make a plan to destroy the Aeolian Empire. He would develop and stabilize his faction while making preparations to destroy the Aeolian Empire. However, just as Zhao Fu returned to Qin City, he heard that the various royal kingdoms planned to interfere, causing Zhao Fu to frown. Chapter 2359. These royal kingdom factions were quite cautious. Despite being so far away, they were still worried that Qin would harm them. However, thinking about it, if Qin destroyed the Devil Horn Empire, the Aeolian Empire, and then the alliance, there would be 60 or so worlds in total. 60 or so worlds was equivalent to 6 royal kingdoms. Just thinking about this was quite terrifying. Within the surrounding 100 or so worlds, there was not a single faction that could stop Qin. If there were 40 worlds, it would be an imperial kingdom. The appearance of a royal kingdom in the outer domains would shake the surrounding 10 or so domains. This was simply too rare and difficult. Imperial kingdom factions were usually at the center of the Heaven Domain and the Central Domains. They were factions that had developed for a long time and had powerful foundations. If their foundations were not powerful, they would not be able to become an imperial kingdom faction. A domain had 1,000 worlds, and an imperial kingdom had 100 worlds, which was 1/10 of the total. The remaining factions in that domain definitely feared this faction, and they did not want to see Zhao Fu become an imperial kingdom. Their interference was not to attack but to support the alliance and the Wind God faction, using them to defend against Qin. Now the two factions were quite happy. With so many royal kingdoms supporting them, it would be even more difficult for Qin to destroy them. This was especially so for the Aeolian Empire and the First Aeolian Empire. If the First Aeolian Empire broke free from the other factions, even though Qin was not afraid of the First Aeolian Empire, he would not be able to destroy the Second Aeolian Empire. Zhao Fu immediately gathered his subordinates and made up his mind to destroy the Aeolian Empire as quickly as possible. If this dragged on, something unexpected might happen. After making this plan, Qin started to make his preparations. After Qin stabilized and made his preparations, he would find a good opportunity to attack the Aeolian Empire. Zhao Fu turned his attention to Qin's development. The Earth Domain had been affected by Ruin's end power and was going through changes. The thing that Zhao Fu wanted to deal with the most was the Heaven Domain. However, it was not so easy to find the Celestial World and Half-Celestial World. Zhao Fu felt a headache and went to the Heaven Spirit Steel to search, but he could not find any information. Suddenly, a message came, and Zhao Fu looked at it and found that it was from that higher being, the teacher from Emperor Path College. Another great thousand world is attacking the Heaven Awaken world, and the situation in the Heaven Awaken world will become even worse. You should make preparations. That unknown disaster will arrive soon. Looking at this piece of information, Zhao Fu felt quite shocked. Another great thousand world had been attracted over by the Heaven Awaken world. The unknown catastrophe is going to happen soon? A great thousand world was like an alchemy world or a primal chaos world. It was incomparably huge and could swallow countless dust worlds. However, the arrival of a great thousand world was not a good thing. On the contrary, it was a very bad thing. That was because the arrival of a great thousand world would mean a planar war. The heaven world's great world. The great and the world's worlds, the kingdom world in the Qin kingdom about it. In a battle with the alchemy world, the heaven awakened world would be at a disadvantage. They would be suppressed by the alchemy world, and if a great thousand world came over, there would definitely be a battle between worlds, putting the heaven awakened world in a very disadvantageous position. As a member of the heaven awakened world, Qin felt immense pressure. If the heaven awakened world fell into a disadvantageous position, Qin would suffer as well. Just what was going on? Why was another great thousand world attacking? Zhao Fu could not understand why 3 great thousand worlds were attacking. Did they think that the heaven awakened world was easy to bully? Was that why they were attacking the heaven awakened world together? Or was the heaven awakened world purposely attracting the 3 great thousand worlds? However, this did not make sense. The heaven awakened world was at a disadvantage against the kingdom of heaven awakened world. If they attracted another world to attack, wouldn't that be asking for trouble? From the current situation, it seemed that it was the first possibility. The 3 worlds thought that the heaven awakened world was easy to bully, so they were attacking the heaven awakened world. AI. Zhao Fu sighed. This was not something that Qin could change. In the future, he could only follow the trend. Finally, there was the disaster. Long ago, that higher being had warned Zhao Fu that an unknown disaster was about to happen and that he should quickly raise his heaven awakened world to a royal kingdom. Only then would he have the power to protect himself. Now that great Qin had risen to become a royal kingdom, it wouldn't be long before a disaster would descend. Just what kind of disaster would it be? Without knowing anything, Qin could not make any preparations. However, Qin should make all sorts of preparations. Only a royal kingdom would have the power to protect itself, and an entire world would not be able to resist. Looking at the current situation, there were a few things that Qin had to do as soon as possible. The first was the Great Desolate Cauldron. Only by creating the Great Desolate Cauldron would Qin have the power to devour other worlds, and only then would the Qin world truly develop. However, without the Great Desolate Cauldron, Qin would not be able to develop or truly control the world. If the disaster happened and Qin left the Heaven Awakened world, Qin would not be able to grow. As such, he had to create the Great Desolate Cauldron. If he did not create it now, it would be too late. The second was the Celestial World. He had to quickly find a crack to the Celestial World or a half-celestial world and draw celestial chi from the Celestial World into the Heaven Realm to change the Heaven Realm. Finally, the human world in the middle would also go through changes under the influence of Ruin's end power and celestial energy. The 3 worlds would become a new world, one with more complete laws and more powerful source energy. The third was the matter of awakening the 2 Emperor Stars. After the disaster, Zhao Fu would not have the opportunity to awaken the Spirit Race's Emperor Star and the Water Race's Emperor Star, nor would he be able to gather 9 Emperor Stars. As such, he had to awaken 2 Emperor Stars before the disaster. The last was the matter of attacking other worlds. During this time, he had to quickly attack other factions and increase Qin's strength. After all, his faction could be increased at any time, so it was not as important as the first 3 things. After making this decision, Zhao Fu thanked the higher being for the reminder and immediately left the Heaven Spirit Pavilion. He then gathered the Qin world's ministers to discuss matters. After hearing about this, the ministers looked incredibly shocked. They had never thought that something like this would happen, and they understood how serious this matter was. As for the things that Zhao Fu had proposed, The ministers did not have any objections and fully supported Zhao Fu's decision. However, the original plan to attack the Aeolian Empire had to be changed. They had to make preparations for Qin before the disaster happened. Chapter 2360. A few days later, Zhao Fu brought Qin to the alchemy world. As mentioned before, the first thing he needed to do was to forge the primordial cauldron. Now that he had the origin god iron and god fire, he only lacked the Tao-seeking stone. The Tao-seeking stone could be found on the exchange stone steel in the alchemy world, and Qin only needed a bit more points to exchange for it. The reason Zhao Fu had come here was naturally to start a war and kill more alchemy race people and subjugate more alchemy families. He would obtain more points to exchange for the Tao-seeking stone, rather than wait for the alchemy race to attack. In order to conquer more alchemy families, Zhao Fu had brought Qin's main force here. Adding on the Stage 2 soldiers here, there were 12 billion of them. Because this region's basic forces were Stage 2 soldiers, Stage 1 soldiers were not very useful, so Zhao Fu had brought Stage 2 soldiers. Currently, the surrounding alchemy race people were building up defenses and thinking of ways to stop Qin, and none of them wanted to start a war. Zhao Fu did not rashly attack, and he ordered Eternal Night's people to gather information about the surroundings. Following this, he learned about the distribution of factions around Qin. Right now, Qin was facing factions from 3 directions, or rather, he was being surrounded by factions from 3 directions. One was in the northeast, one was in the southwest, and one was in the northwest. The northeast faction was the most powerful, with 8 billion Stage 2 soldiers. The southwest faction was ranked second, with 6 billion Stage 2 soldiers. The southwest faction was ranked third, with 5 billion Stage 2 soldiers. The northeast faction was called the Water and Forest Alliance, and the largest families were the Shui family and Lin family. They were the most hostile towards Qin and had always wanted to attack Qin, but they had not found an opportunity. The southwest faction was called the Tu and Water Flower Alliance. The 3 most powerful factions were the Tu family, Shui family, and Hua family. They did not feel very hostile towards Qin, as they understood how powerful Qin was. They did not want to fight with Qin, but in order to protect themselves, they could only ally together to resist Qin. The last force in the northwest was also hostile to Qin, but it wasn't that strong. It was mainly because they didn't have enough troops, and they didn't dare to do anything to Qin. After obtaining this information, Zhao Fu did not feel too much pressure. The 3 factions added up had a total of 19 billion soldiers, but Qin had 12 billion soldiers, which was a difference of 7 billion soldiers. There was also the strength of these clans. The total number of war saint beasts added up might be more than 30,000. If there were too many war saint beasts, it would be a huge headache. How are they going to destroy these forces? A direct attack. Qin was 7 billion Stage 2 soldiers away, and the other side was defending. If they directly attacked, they would definitely suffer massive casualties, and it was impossible to directly attack. Qin had worked hard to obtain so many Stage 2 soldiers, and if they lost them, they would not be able to replenish them. It was a pity that this was not the Heaven Awaken world, or else they would be able to split up their factions and make it so that they would not be able to unite to attack Qin. However, this was the alchemy world. As an outsider, Qin would be the enemy of the alchemy clan no matter where he went. The most important thing was that they were in a realm war. Who would trust an outsider like him? As for directly attacking, it was impossible, so he could only use other plans. Zhao Fu thought about it and thought of a plan. Even though he did not know if it would work, he could give it a try. Firstly, Zhao Fu set his target on the Soil Water Flower Alliance. They were not very hostile towards Qin, and they were the second most powerful faction. Without their interference, Zhao Fu would have lost 6 billion soldiers. The remaining 2 factions added together only had 13 billion soldiers, and with Qin's various war gods' fury and the various war gods' fury, it would be no problem to destroy them. Zhao Fu ordered a small team to act as Qin's emissaries and bring some gifts from Qin to visit the Soil Waterflower Alliance. The Soil Waterflower Alliance looked quite confused. They had never thought that a Heaven Awakened world faction would come to visit their alchemy world, and they were enemies. They were quite curious about Qin's goal, so they gathered to meet Qin's emissaries. Within the hall, there were 3 people sitting at the very top. One was a fatty in yellow clothes, the two families' family leader. One was an elder in blue clothes, the Shui family's family leader. And one was a beautiful middle-aged woman in pink clothes, the Hua family's family leader. These 3 factions were the most powerful, and there were other family leaders sitting around them. Their factions were quite small, so they sat below. Qin's emissary was a scholarly young man called Ling Feng. He was a Confucian disciple, and had learned the alchemy language, so he could communicate with the alchemy race. "Greetings, sirs." Ling Feng gave a slight smile and neither servile nor overbearing as he bowed to everyone. The alchemy clan's people were quite satisfied with Qin's attitude. Qin was the most terrifying faction here, and only with the 3 alliances working together could they threaten Qin. They were quite afraid of Qin. The 2 families' family leaders smiled and said, "No need to be so polite. Why did Qin send people here?" Ling Feng said with a smile, "Under the order of His Majesty, I have brought various gifts from Qin to visit you. I hope that we can be friends." The people from the weather world came to make friends with them. The expressions of the people from the alchemy world were a bit weird. They certainly didn't believe that Qin would really want to be friends with them. After thinking about it, they realized that Great Qin's goal was to maintain a good relationship with them so that they would not oppose Great Qin with the other 2 factions. If Great Qin attacked the other 2 factions, they would not attack. Qin's idea was good, but was it possible? If they didn't get involved and waited for Qin to destroy the other 2 allied forces, the only result for each of them would be death. No matter what, they had to join the team to resist Qin. Only in this way could they have a chance to survive. The head of the Shui family said calmly, "Become friends with us? Is Qin sure? We're enemies." Ling Feng's expression didn't change, and he still said with a gentle smile, "I've come with Qin's sincerity. Qin is willing to sign a contract with you, and he will never invade your forces in the future." The people from the alchemy clan still didn't believe him. Even if a contract was signed, it could be abolished, and it couldn't really protect them. The head of the Shui family said calmly, "We can't promise you this. If you're only here for this, please leave." The people from the alchemy clan already knew Qin's purpose. For their own safety and lives, they definitely wouldn't believe Qin and would stand on the alchemy world's side. Many of the alchemy clan's family leaders had the same idea. Chapter 2361. Ling Feng was not surprised by this attitude, and he maintained a slight smile as he said, "Sirs, I'm sure you all understand what Qin is thinking, which is why you don't want to be friends with Qin. However, sirs, you're wrong about one thing." The family leaders felt quite surprised and had never thought that Ling Feng would reply like this. The Hua family's leader smiled as he said, "You know that we can guess what Qin is thinking and won't be friends with Qin. Tell me, which part of our thinking is wrong?" Ling Fei confidently puffed out his chest and raised his head as he smiled as he said, "The first mistake is that you think that you can stop Qin. However, you can't stop Qin at all and are destined to be destroyed by Qin." The Hua family's leader felt quite displeased as he said, "Qin is quite arrogant. I know that Qin is powerful and has around 8 billion soldiers. Also, the floating fortresses in the sky are quite powerful, but do you think that the gold refiner race is easy to bully? Do you really think that we can't defeat Qin? Also, if Qin was very powerful, he would have attacked us long ago. Why are you trying to divide us? Haven't you done this many times?" The leaders of the various factions nodded. The Hua family's leader was right. The Shui family's leader's voice became slightly cold as he said, I also know who gave Qin the courage to say such words. Our tripartite alliance has a total of 19 billion soldiers, and the number of alchemy's sacred beasts has reached 36,000. If it wasn't for the fact that we're wary of Qin, we would have long since attacked you. The ones who should be worried should be Qin. Finally, this is the gold refiner world. It's not a place where Qin can act as he pleases. Don't think that you're invincible just because you've defeated a few gold refiner families. The gold refiner world's power is not something that the heaven-awakened world can imagine. Hearing such impolite and somewhat humiliating words, Ling Feng loudly laughed, giving off the domineering aura that Qin should have. The leaders of the various factions looked at each other, feeling quite confused. They had not said anything wrong, so why did Qin's envoy have such an attitude? This was especially so because of that domineering laughter, which made them feel quite uncomfortable. The Shui family's leader angrily said, What are you laughing at? Did I say something wrong? Ling Feng's gaze was sharp as he looked at the Shui family's leader and said domineeringly, Not only that, but you're very mistaken. You're all short-sighted and don't know Qin's true strength. It's not that Qin is being presumptuous, but that you are not a match for Qin. The Shui family's leader said in disbelief, Qin's right. Then how powerful Qin is. The other family leaders also looked at Ling Feng. They indeed did not know what kind of faction Great Qin was, nor did they have any information about Great Qin. They were also quite curious about what kind of faction Great Qin was. Qin Feng, I Qin Chen, Ling and Qin, I said, I Qin, I. Ling Feng gave a prideful smile as he said, Qin is the most powerful faction in the boundary of the ancient stem domain, and it's like a ferocious and terrifying dragon. All factions fear it, and His Majesty Qin is a genius whose name shakes the entire ancient stem domain. There are no words to describe how mighty and terrifying he is. Perhaps you all think that I'm bragging about Qin, but I can tell you Qin's true strength. Qin's territory now covers 17 worlds, and he has 800 billion people and 70 billion soldiers. Not only that, but Qin also has countless terrifying beasts, powerful holy light emissaries, and all sorts of terrifying abilities. He has even grasped the method to control alchemy saint beasts, so he can also control alchemy saint beasts. Hearing Ling Feng's words, the various family leaders felt incredibly shocked. Was Qin really that powerful? More than 800 billion people? His domain had reached 17 worlds? Even the greatest advantage of the alchemy race, the alchemy saint beasts, had been controlled by Qin? Now, with their 3 factions added together, they only had around 1 world, while Qin had 17 worlds, 16 more than them. Even with their families added together, they only had tens of billions of people, and Qin's 800 billion people was much more than theirs. Finally, there was the matter of alchemy saint beasts. Alchemy saint beasts were their greatest weapon against the heaven-awakened world, and now that Qin had also grasped them, they no longer had any advantage. However, how had Qin grasped such an ability? Even though they did not believe it, since Qin had grasped alchemy power, it was not strange for him to have alchemy saint beasts. If Qin really did have such strength, how could they be a match for Qin? They would almost certainly be suppressed by Qin. Now they started to feel quite afraid. However, if Qin had such strength, why did he not directly suppress them and instead come over to befriend them? They started to feel quite suspicious. The 2 families' family leaders said, How can we believe your words? Ling Feng smiled confidently as he said, You can send people to follow me to the heaven-awakened world, or you can personally go to Qin and see if what I say is true. Hearing Ling Feng say this, the alchemy race's family leaders started to believe him. However, just to be safe, they decided to go and see just how powerful Qin was. The 2 families' family leaders smiled as he said, Since Qin is so friendly, let's go and pay a visit to Qin. After that, we'll talk about befriending him. Seeing that this was done, Ling Feng smiled and said, "No problem." Following this, the alchemy race's family leaders sent their trusted aides to follow Ling Feng to Qin. There were 30 or so of them, and the two families' family leader was quite bold and actually joined in. The other family leaders did not dare to do this. If what Qin said was false, those people would definitely die at Qin's hands. As such, they only sent their trusted aides to take a look. Moreover, as the family leaders, they could not allow anything to happen to them. They followed Ling Feng to Qin's territory in the alchemy world, feeling quite nervous and excited. They were curious about what kind of faction Qin was and what kind of world the Heaven Awaken world was. They had lived in the alchemy world for their entire lives and had never seen another world before. At the city gates stood a group of soldiers wearing black armor and holding black weapons. Their expressions were cold and they gave off a powerful dark aura. The surroundings were incredibly austere, making people instinctively feel afraid. Seeing how powerful Qin's soldiers were, the two families' family leader and the others felt even more impressed of Qin. After all, it was impossible for an ordinary faction to have such powerful soldiers. Qin's soldiers stopped Ling Feng and asked about his group's identities. Ling Feng smiled as he took out a command medallion, and the soldiers respectfully bowed and did not stop Ling Feng and the others. Following this, everyone followed Ling Feng to the inner regions of the Qin territory. The alchemy race's people followed Ling Feng and looked at the inner regions of the Qin territory. Seeing the alchemy race's soldiers and the massive holy beasts, they were all shocked. Chapter 2362. What Qin had said was true. He had grasped the method to control holy beasts, and he had controlled many holy beasts. Qin's soldiers, who wore black armor and held weapons, gave off a massive aura as if they could destroy everything, and the atmosphere became quite oppressive. There were at least 10 billion of them, and they were all Stage 2 soldiers who had grasped alchemy skills. Just with this strength and the war god's fury, they would be able to face them head-on, and they would not have much of an advantage. Seeing how shocked they were, Ling Feng smiled and said, "This is just a portion of Qin's strength. Now, come with me to the Qin Empire and see Qin's true strength." The two families' family head and the others nodded. Now that they had seen Qin's strength, they no longer doubted Ling Feng's words, and they became even more curious about Qin. One day later, the two families' family head and the others returned to the Two Water Flower Alliance in shock, and the other family heads had been waiting for them. The family heads looked at everyone's shocked expressions, as if they had gone to an incredible place, and they asked nervously, "How was it? Did that person lie? Is Qin really that powerful?" The two families' family head nodded confidently. "It's not that simple. He's even more terrifying than what he said. I've already obtained some information about Qin, and Qin is simply a monster-like existence." Hearing this, everyone felt incredibly shocked. The Alliance asked the two families' family head about Qin, and in the end, they all looked incredibly shocked. "I really admire Qin. A small outskirts faction has now shaken a few domains, and countless royal kingdoms and factions fear his existence. With our strength, we would not be able to do this." "That's right. I feel that Qin is many times more powerful than us. Only by joining forces can we resist a portion of Qin's forces. If we split up, we'll be swept away by Qin. I admit that I underestimated Qin before. I never thought that what that person said was true. Qin has such strength, and we're not a match for him at all. I feel so powerless." "I also have the same feeling, but I'm still a little curious. Why did Qin spend so much effort to befriend us and ask us not to attack him when he clearly has the strength to crush us? Why are you so stupid? You still haven't figured it out? Qin wants to preserve his strength and doesn't want to reveal it all at once. In my opinion, not only will we suffer, but the alchemy families in several worlds will also suffer." "You're right. That's why Qin told us not to leak any information. Otherwise, he would attack us first. That's why he doesn't want to leak his own information. I've also asked around. From now on, Qin will focus the whole empire on the alchemy world. Are you serious? The whole Qin Empire focused on the world of alchemy. Who could resist it? There isn't a single one here. It must be true. I secretly asked a few people, and they all said the same thing. As for Qin's purpose, I don't know. That's why I said that all the worlds in Feng Yuan will suffer. This Qin is a monster. Then what should we do now? Should we continue to unite with the other two forces? Or should we sign a contract with Qin to maintain a temporary peace? Qin will start the war soon. I don't want to die, so I will sign a contract with Qin. If you want to die, I won't stop you, but don't drag me down. Now that I've seen Qin's real strength, I have nothing to say. I don't want to participate in a war that I will definitely lose, so I will also choose to sign a contract with Qin. Otherwise, we have no other choice. Okay. Since you have said so, I have no other opinion. Let's all choose to sign a contract with Qin. The family heads of the Soil Water Flower Alliance all decided to sign a contract with Qin. They had no other choice. Ling Feng, who had been waiting in another place, was also invited back to the hall. Everyone's expressions changed as well. They all wore smiles on their faces, and their attitudes were warm and friendly. The Shui family head awkwardly smiled as he said, "Emissary, I went too far just now and didn't believe you. Please forgive me. We understand Qin's intentions, and we are willing to be friends with such a powerful force like Qin." The Hua family head also had an apologetic smile as he said, "I was a bit short-sighted and didn't expect Qin to be such a powerful force. I heard that Qin has a very large flower region. Perhaps we have a common interest." Ling Feng smiled and felt very proud. After these people saw how powerful Qin was, their attitudes immediately changed. All of this was because the Qin Empire was powerful. If the Qin Empire was not powerful, they would not treat Qin like this. Ling Feng was very proud of the Qin Empire, and he worshipped Emperor Qin even more. Everything about the Qin Empire had been built by him. "It's all right. My tone was a bit rude just now, so please don't mind," Ling Feng replied humbly, giving them a way out. The alchemy family heads all smiled and relaxed. Since Ling Feng did not mind, there would be no problems with signing the contract. Following this, Ling Feng chatted with the family heads for a while before returning to the Qin residence. "Greetings, Your Majesty." Ling Feng came to a room and respectfully knelt on the ground. He was filled with nervousness and anticipation because the person in front of him was the Emperor of the Qin Empire. Zhao Fu was sitting on a chair and reading memorials. Hearing Ling Feng's voice, he put down the memorials and asked, "How did things go?" Ling Feng suppressed his excitement and smiled as he replied, "Everything went smoothly, and the Soil Water Flower Alliance can sign the contract with Qin residents at any time." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I understand. You've done very well this time, and I'll have Li Si arrange an official position for you." "Thank you, Your Majesty." Ling Feng was very happy. Although he had done very well, he was just a Confucian scholar and did not have any real power. However, now that he had become an official, he had real power. Li Si was the Prime Minister of the Qin Empire, and he was one of the most respected people in the Qin Empire. The position he appointed would definitely not be small. Zhao Fu asked Ling Feng to leave and gathered the generals. Now that the Soil Water Flower Alliance was willing to sign the contract with Qin residents and not participate in what would happen next, it was time to start a war. This was exactly what Zhao Fu wanted. Another great thousand world was coming, and a catastrophe was about to happen. Zhao Fu wanted to build the prehistoric cauldron as soon as possible, and destroying the two alchemy forces would bring him many benefits. Chapter 2363. Qin quickly attacked, and the 12 billion soldiers split into two teams. One team had 9 billion soldiers and mainly attacked the strongest Aqua Alliance, while the other team had 3 billion soldiers and the War God's Fury to attack the Northwest Metal Alliance. After hearing about this, the Aqua Alliance did not panic and instead felt quite delighted. They immediately informed the other two alliances to prepare to counterattack Qin. Whether it was in terms of military strength, defense, or other aspects, they had a great advantage. As such, the Aqua Alliance was not too worried about Qin's attack. In the Northwest Metal Alliance, the Jin family's faction was the largest, while the Aqua Alliance's faction was the smallest. As such, they felt quite worried and were not as confident as the Aqua Alliance. Currently, the news between Qin and Tu Shuihua had not been leaked, so they did not know that Tu Shuihua and Qin had signed a contract. Zhao Fu personally went to the Aqua Alliance and left the other side to Wang Jian. The Shui family's leader on the city walls was a feminine-looking young man, while the Lin family's leader was a skinny middle-aged man. Seeing Qin's soldiers rush over, the feminine-looking man coldly laughed as he said, "Qin is quite bold. We did not attack you and let you attack us. Do you not know whose territory this is?" Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "I'm not interested in talking to someone who's about to die." The feminine-looking man eerily looked at Zhao Fu as he said, "Let's see if you dare to talk to me like this later." The Aqua Alliance's 10,000 or so Saint War Beasts aimed their cannons at Qin's side. There were 17,000 of them, and they gave off an aura of destruction. With so many Saint War Beasts and the fact that they were defending, they had the advantage of firm defenses. Adding on the fact that the other two alliances were also participating, this gave the Aqua Alliance great confidence. At that moment, Zhao Fu ordered Qin's soldiers to summon 20,000 Holy Light emissaries, 3,000 or so Saint War Beasts, and 3,000 or so mechanical wyverns. Many 100-meter-tall Holy Light emissaries hovered in the air, emitting massive waves of Holy Light power. Huge mechanical dragons circled in the air, and rows of cannons from the war-sacred beasts were aimed at them. Seeing this scene, the Aqua Alliance's expressions could not help but become serious and feel a wave of pressure. They also felt quite shocked. How did Qin have Saint War Beasts? How did they obtain the method to control the alchemy beast? The situation wasn't looking good, but things had already come to this point, so there was no point in hesitating. Boom, boom, boom. The war saint beasts behind the Water Forest Alliance's walls shot out massive beams of light from their cannons towards Qin with terrifying power, as if they were going to pierce through the sky. On Qin's side, the Holy Light emissaries stretched out their hands and powerful waves of Holy Light energy flowed out, forming massive defensive barriers that covered a large number of Qin's soldiers. Bang, bang, bang. A series of explosions rang out as countless rays of light shot out in all directions and terrifying shockwaves spread out. The attacks released by so many holy beasts of war were still very powerful. Some of the Holy Light emissaries' defensive barriers were pierced by the light beams, and their bodies were also pierced, turning into countless white spots of light and dissipating. However, the soldiers under the Holy Light envoys were not harmed at all. This was because the soldiers were emitting the aura of alchemy, forming a second line of defense. Now that the Water Forest Alliance had unleashed the first wave of attacks, it was time for Qin to attack. The first to attack were the Holy Light emissaries. They spread out their defensive barriers and raised their hands towards the Water Forest Alliance. Rays of white light containing world-purifying power shot out. Boom! 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 The cannons of the war saint beasts shot out beams of light that contained shocking power as they tore through the sky and lit up the surroundings, giving off terrifying auras. Roar! Roar! The mechanical wyverns gave off massive roars as they shot out massive beams of light containing destructive power, seeming to cause the air to explode and giving off deafening sounds. Qin's side's attacks were much more powerful than the Water Forest Alliance's. They attacked the Water Forest Alliance from below, in the middle, and in the sky. The Water Forest Alliance's side immediately activated defensive magic formations, and countless traces of water elemental essence gathered, forming 3 layers of blue defensive barriers around the city walls. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as countless beams of light slammed into the blue defensive barriers. The massive blue defensive barrier was unable to withstand the massive destructive power and shattered. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a cold smile and ordered his soldiers to charge. Kill! Qin's soldiers roared and gave off massive auras as they flooded forwards like a black ocean, seeming to destroy everything. The Water Forest Alliance's people's expressions became serious, and they felt immense pressure. The Lin family immediately ordered people to activate Forest's alchemy. Boom! 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 Green magic formations were activated and gave off green light as an aura of life spread out. They were located on the ground behind the city walls, and the green magic formations were incredibly profound and complicated. They were 10 or so meters wide, and there was an ancient tree seed at the center. Countless traces of powerful energy flowed into the ancient tree seed, causing it to grow many roots that stabbed into the ground below the magic formations. Boom! 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 As Qin's soldiers headed towards the Water Forest Alliance, the ground suddenly trembled and cracked. Massive trees giving off massive auras suddenly grew out, sending countless Qin's soldiers flying. They fell from the sky and caused many casualties. Xing, Xing, Xing! Qin's soldiers immediately gave off large amounts of alchemy power, forming massive swords of energy that slashed forwards with massive power. Qin's army had stopped attacking, and their path of attack was blocked by countless trees. These trees had their own consciousness and would attack creatures that came close. If they wanted to charge through, they would have to destroy the trees. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as countless large swords made of metallic aura shot out, slashing trees in half. Many trees instantly fell, causing wood shavings and leaves to fly everywhere. However, the trees that had been slashed did not die and instead quickly grew back, ferociously growing towards Qin's soldiers. They were like a group of monsters that wanted to devour great Qin's soldiers. Zhao Fu ordered the mechanical wyverns in the sky to open their massive mouths and shoot out massive beams of light that contained terrifying power into the forest, causing massive explosions to spread out. Countless rocks and pieces of wood shot out, and powerful gales blew out, causing the ground to violently tremble. Large holes were blasted out in the ground, and rocks and trees were scattered everywhere. It was a complete mess, and the trees no longer grew. Chapter 2364. Boom! Boom! Massive explosions sounded out as the Water Forest Alliance grasped this opportunity. Rays of light containing terrifying power shot towards Qin, seeming to be able to destroy everything. The scene was quite terrifying. The holy light emissaries once again gave off powerful holy light energy and unleashed defensive barriers to protect Qin's soldiers. The Qin soldiers gave off waves of metallic light, forming an enormous metallic defensive barrier. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as terrifying shockwaves continuously spread out. Some of the holy light emissaries' defensive barriers were pierced, and the holy light emissaries were shattered. The rays of light continued to blast into the defensive barriers, causing them to shatter. Some of the rays of light landed on the ground and exploded, sending some Qin's soldiers flying and causing blood and flesh to fly everywhere. Zhao Fu frowned. Based on the current situation, it would be quite difficult to take down the Water Forest Alliance. As expected, the Water Forest Alliance had made preparations for Qin to attack them. Now, Zhao Fu wanted to use the primogenitor statue, but after thinking about how great Qin was still an outsider faction, he couldn't reveal too much of its strength. As such, he decided not to use the primogenitor statue and used another method. Seeing that Qin's momentum had been suppressed, the Water Forest Alliance let out a sigh of relief and felt that Qin was not as terrifying as the legends said. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the Qin soldiers gave off massive auras as they continued to charge at the Water Forest Alliance under Zhao Fu's orders. Boom! 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 Explosions sounded out as Great Qin's War Saint Beast first shot out a wave of light, which contained terrifying power as it shot forwards. The Water Forest Alliance once again unleashed a water attribute barrier to protect the defensive walls. The beams of light hit the barrier and waves of terrifying power spread out, causing the defensive barrier to crack but not shatter. Swish, swish, swish! Qin soldiers once again shot out arrows. The countless arrows contained immense power as they hit the defensive barrier, causing the cracked defensive barrier to shatter. The Water Forest Alliance's people did not panic. They had made ample preparations. When the defensive barrier shattered, magic formations were activated, and the surrounding water elemental essences quickly gathered, forming a new defensive barrier. Suddenly, Zhao Fu's body disappeared and appeared in the sky in front of the Water Forest Alliance. Seeing that Zhao Fu dared to come here by himself, the Water Forest Alliance's people felt quite startled before feeling delighted. Was this person seeking death? As long as they could kill him, everything would be resolved. They ordered the War Saint Beasts to aim at Zhao Fu, wanting to blast Zhao Fu into smithereens. However, Zhao Fu smirked and gave a trace of a cold smile as he took out a 3-meter-wide metal orb and sent a wave of power into it. The runes on the metal orb lit up and a massive destructive power spread out. As the alchemist family of this place, they recognized this thing. Their expressions changed greatly, and they hurriedly ordered people to reinforce the defenses. Zhao Fu threw the metal ball towards the Water Forest Alliance's city wall before retreating to Great Qin's army. The metal ball flew to the top of the city wall and stopped by itself. As if it had a mind of its own, it sensed its surroundings. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the metal orb gave off a massive explosion. Countless rays of blinding white light spread out, and an incredibly terrifying power instantly spread out, causing all of the rocks on the ground to shatter as a shock wave blasted out. The ground continuously trembled and a shock wave spread out, causing countless rocks and sand to fly into the sky, forming a massive mushroom cloud. When everything calmed down, there was a 1,000,000-meter-wide crater in the ground. Some areas directly turned into magma, and an aura of extinction spread out. The Water Forest Alliance's city wall was at the center of the explosion, and there was a 60,000 to 70,000 meter wide hole in it. The ground was filled with rubble, and there were many corpses of the Alliance's soldiers. They had all been torn apart and blood spurted everywhere, creating a bloody scene. The Water Forest Alliance's members had ugly expressions. They hadn't expected Zhao Fu to have the Hua family's taboo ball. This was the Hua family's taboo ball, and it was very famous. Everyone knew about it, and it was incredibly rare. It was incredibly difficult to create, so they rarely used it. Now, not only did Qin have the Hua family's taboo ball, but Zhao Fu could also use it. This was something that could only be used by those with the Hua family's bloodline. Just what was going on with the Hua family? How could they let Qin have such a terrifying thing? It was simply too harmful. Kill! Now that a 70,000 to 80,000 meter wide hole had been blasted in the Alliance's city wall, the defense had been broken. Qin's soldiers understood this, and their morale became even greater. They roared as they rushed towards the hole. The Water Forest Alliance's people hurriedly had the Alliance's soldiers gather at the hole. They had to stop Qin. Otherwise, if Qin rushed in, they would lose. The alchemical beasts also aimed at the charging Qin's soldiers. Boom! 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 However, Qin took the initiative to attack first. The mechanical wyverns in the sky shot out beams of light, and the holy light emissaries stretched out their hands, shooting out beams of light. The alchemical beasts also shot out countless beams of light. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as explosive power spread out, causing the ground to crack. Countless rocks flew everywhere, and the ground violently trembled. The alchemical beasts stopped attacking and released barriers to protect themselves, but some of them were still blasted apart. Zhao Fu ordered people to bring out over 1,000 massive dragon-slaying ballistae. These dragon-slaying ballistae were hundreds of meters long, and there were massive crystal arrows on them, giving off terrifying auras. Boom, 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 arrows shot out, turning into massive rays of light that gave off massive destructive power as they shot out incredibly quickly. They tore through everything with an unstoppable momentum, and nothing seemed to be able to stop them. Bang! Bang! Some arrows hit the Alliance's alchemical beasts and pierced through them, while others hit the city walls. Terrifying explosions exploded out, destroying everything in the surroundings. The alchemical beasts were blasted apart, causing shards to fly everywhere. Countless alchemical beasts' bodies were also blasted apart, causing blood and flesh to fly everywhere. These arrows were all socketed with destruction crystals. Great Qin had accumulated many destruction crystals, and they had accumulated many of them. The Water Forest Alliance was completely suppressed by Qin's attacks, and before the shock waves had settled, Qin's soldiers had already rushed to the Alliance city walls, giving off ferocious auras as they charged in. The Alliance's army came to their senses and gave off powerful auras as they charged towards Qin's soldiers. The two sides started to fight. A Qin soldier held a saber and sent an Alliance soldier flying, causing that Alliance soldier to fall to the ground and die. An Alliance soldier held a spear and pierced through a Qin soldier's body. Chapter 2365. A Qin soldier held a large axe and charged over to split an Alliance soldier in half. A Qin soldier held a sword and slit an Alliance soldier's throat. An Alliance soldier held a large saber and ferociously chopped off the head of a Qin soldier. A Qin soldier shouted as he cut off the head of an Alliance soldier and rushed towards another person. The mechanical wyverns shot out massive beams of light in the sky towards the Alliance's beast. The holy light emissaries also flew into the sky and shot out white beams of light, while the alchemy god beasts shot out beams of light from behind. The Alliance's alchemy god beasts did their best to counterattack, and beams of light shot towards Qin's war god beasts. The battle was incredibly intense, and massive explosions continuously sounded out. Cries continuously sounded out, and blood flew everywhere as people continuously died. Qin had a great advantage, and the alchemy god beasts were all killed by Qin's soldiers. Before, with Qin's current strength, he would not lose if he faced the alchemy god beasts head-on. Some of the Alliance's alchemy god beasts were also blasted apart by Qin's soldiers. Massive explosions continuously sounded out, and large craters were blasted out in the ground. Of course, it was not that Qin's side did not suffer any losses, but they had suffered fewer losses than the water and forest factions. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive magic formation was activated on the Alliance's side. It was 100,000 meters wide and gave off countless rays of blue light. The surrounding water elemental essence flooded in like a flood, and a massive pillar of water shot into the sky with massive power. A massive blue beam of light stood there, giving off a massive aura, and countless traces of alchemy water spread out. The Alliance soldiers felt a wave of power flow in, and their bodies gave off a blue aura. Their injuries and strength quickly recovered. This caused the Alliance soldiers to feel delighted, and they now had some information about Qin's soldiers. Now that they had truly fought with Qin's soldiers, they understood how terrifying they were. They were not a match for them at all. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out, but they did not celebrate too early. A massive magic formation appeared on Qin's side, and a massive wave of chaos power spread out like a flood. The alchemy god beasts, who had felt their strength recover faster, immediately felt weaker, and their strength recovery became slower. Kill! Qin's side's aura became even more ferocious as they roared and charged towards the Alliance soldiers in front of them. The Alliance soldiers were unable to stop Qin's soldiers and started to retreat. Bang bang bang, massive arrows containing terrifying power once again shot out, instantly tearing through the sky as if they could pierce through everything. They landed on the alchemy holy beast's body, giving off massive sounds. The Shui family's leader's face was extremely pale as he said to the Lin family's leader, "This Qin is too monstrous. What if we can't stop him? Now we can only rely on the other two forces to support us, or attack Qin and force Qin's main force to retreat." The Shui family head said anxiously, "But so much time has passed, why haven't there been any news from those two alliances? This is especially so for Tu Shuihua's faction. Qin did not send soldiers to attack them, so they should have the strength to support us." The Lin family's leader thought about it and said seriously, "It's possible that Tu Shuihua's faction will not support us. If they wanted to, they would have come long ago. Also, it's quite strange that Qin did not send soldiers against them. I suspect that they have some sort of agreement with Qin." The Shui family's leader said gloomily, "Are Tu Shuihua's people pigs? Do they think that Qin will not destroy them if their own people do not help them? Without us, what chance do they have of surviving?" The Lin family's leader said in a low voice, "They shouldn't be stupid, but I can't guess the reason. Now that we can't stop Qin, let's find some time to retreat." The Shui family's leader felt quite unwilling, but looking at the alchemy holy beast continuously being destroyed and the alchemy god beasts continuously dying, he could only give the order to retreat. The allied soldiers started to retreat and inwardly let out a sigh of relief. Now, facing Qin's soldiers, they felt a trace of fear. Seeing the allied army start to retreat, Zhao Fu understood that Qin had won. He gave a trace of a smile and gave the order to chase after the escaping alchemy god beast. Roar, roar, roar! The largest and fastest mechanical wyvern spread its wings and flapped them, bringing with it a berserk gale as it flew to the front of the army and shot out massive beams of light. Explosions spread out and killed many of the alchemist soldiers. Qin's soldiers roared and ferociously chased after the escaping alchemy god beasts. Some alchemy god beasts were so terrified that they threw down their weapons and knelt on the ground, crying and begging Qin to spare them and not kill them. Qin naturally did not kill these people and continued to kill the other alchemy god beasts. Seeing that Qin's soldiers were like demons and that they would not die if they surrendered, the other alchemy god beasts disregarded their dignity and knelt on the ground. Boom! 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 The Lin family's leader ordered people to throw out ancient tree seed. The ancient tree seeds landed on the ground and quickly grew, forming a forest that gave off immense power as it ferociously attacked Qin's soldiers. Qin's soldiers could only stop and gather their power to destroy the forest. This gave the alchemy god beasts some time to escape, and many alchemy god beasts' soldiers used this time to escape. In the end, Qin's soldiers stopped, and the alchemy god beast's soldiers either escaped or surrendered. Zhao Fu first ordered people to let Qin's soldiers rest while he quickly set up defenses. Next, they would attack the family's territories and fight intensely. This time, Qin's army had destroyed nearly 2 billion of the Water Forest Alliance's soldiers, and the Water Forest Alliance still had a lot of strength left. However, now that they had split up, it was much easier for Qin's soldiers. After all, their power had been split up and they did not have much of a resistance. A while later, Qin finished setting up countless teleportation channels, and Qin's soldiers split into 3 groups and charged towards the northeast. News quickly spread that the Water Forest Alliance could not stop that monster like Qin at all. Now, their defenses had been broken through by Qin, and Qin had already killed his way into the family's territories. The countless alchemy god beasts' families felt incredibly terrified. They could not imagine how a heaven-awakened world faction like Qin could have such a terrifying faction to be able to chase their alchemy god beasts' families all over the world. Even though they were furious and felt humiliated, there was nothing they could do. If they did not run, they would die. The families did not hesitate to pack up their things and quickly relocate. Seeing countless people relocate, those further away thought that something terrifying had happened. They immediately asked the alchemy god beasts' families and found out what had happened. The Qin Empire's name spread far and wide. Within a radius of 10 worlds, everyone knew that there was such a terrifying faction that was like a ferocious beast that slaughtered in all directions. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.